Hey, what's up? Welcome to Movie Dumpster Season 2, Episode 24. The bombs have almost ceased dropping, but we got a good one for you today. We got The 13th Warrior from 1999, directed by John McTiernan. I'm Joel Scola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
I'm Connor. I'm not quite Beowulf McGraw.
Welcome to The Dumpster.
She says the 13th man must be no Northman.
The hell are you saying?
The 13th warrior is you.
Man, I kicked that one back and forth for a while. I didn't know what I was going to do with this episode.
Oh, it's motherfucking Beowulf. He is Beowulf for sure.
I almost did the 33 and a third warrior, but I wasn't quite sure if I could get that all out in one fell swoop.
The oops, I got picked out of a hat warrior.
In Antonio Banderas' case.
I'm not really Arabic warrior.
Yeah!
Holy shit. He doesn't even try to hide his Spanish accent. My God.
And it's totally fine. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, this isn't Ben Kingsley playing Gandhi here, guys.
Yeah, but casting a Spanish person as a Middle Eastern person is like, it's Hollywood going like, oh, that's a safe brown person because we're still scared of brown people.
Yeah, right. Well, that guy's also brown. Okay.
He's tan.
I mean, he is a good actor. Like, I'll give him that. But, like, it just doesn't match.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're only, what, a year off of Mask of Zorro at this. Well, no, actually.
Right, yeah.
That's not entirely true. This film was made 2 years before it was released.
So another one that sat on the shelf for 2 years.
You're telling me, well, here, the thing with this one, too, is like, whereas Deep Rising was like a special effects dilemma, this was like we don't like what you're doing, we're going to have to hire somebody else to come in here and like reshoot a bunch of shit and kind of...
I heard, and this is just pieces of stuff, because I didn't go digging because I knew you were going to do all this stuff. I heard Michael Crichton even came in to direct some shit.
Also, when I said another movie that sat on the shelf for 2 years, I was talking about Pluto Nash.
Oh!
Yeah, I was saying it's like 3 in a row.
Okay, yeah. Well, that seems to always be a part of the problem, right? When the production shit goes wrong?
Yeah.
Well, fuck it. We spent all that money, let's put it on the shelf until we figure it out, or whatever.
Or until it gets lost.
Oh,
one or the other.
Until it becomes New Mutants.
Oh, no. That's, well, I really hope that comes out someday.
That hurt you, I can tell.
It did, because, like, that looked good and promising and different in a good way. So, yeah, let's just start from the top with this guy. So this film is based on the book Eaters of the Dead by Michael Crichton. Michael Crichton, from what I've read anyway. Now, I haven't actually read this book, and
I fucking want to.
Like a moron, I was like, yeah, I'm going to try to read the book before we do the show. And I'm like, and fucking
read a Michael Crichton book in a week?
read a Goosebumps book in a week with the shit that I have going on. No, it's just not going to happen. So I was kind of kidding myself on that one. However, I would like to read it at some point. So from what I understand, he wrote this in response to somebody telling him that like Beowulf is boring. It's not as epic as they think it should be, and he was like, "Oh yeah, fuck you! Here I go. I'm gonna take." What he's done essentially is weave this story. He takes Beowulf and he takes a fictional text. Like, he almost does like a Lovecraft thing with like, oh, well, I get these stories from the Necronomicon, or I get this information from the Necronomicon. Well, he gets...
Or like Roger Corman with Frankenstein Unbound. All that stuff really happened.
Yeah, Victor Frankenstein and Mary Shelley lived down the street from each other.
Exactly. But yeah, the book is based upon the two ancient texts, one of them being, I believe I'm getting this right, one of them being Beowulf, and the other one being this text written by our main character, who is Ahmed ibn Fahalan. I believe that's how you say his name.
His middle and last name stumble me, but I think it's Ahmad.
He pronounces it Ahmed in the film. I don't know if that's just Antonio Banderas' accent or what, but that's the way it is.
We apologize if there's anyone out there who's upset with pronunciation.
I'm gonna call him Eben.
Listen, if someone's upset about pronunciations with this show, we would have lost them a long fucking time ago.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Or we'll just call him Little Brother. How about that? That's a nice one.
There you go.
That's what everybody calls him in the film.
Zorro was there.
The second Zorro. El Mariachi's in this movie.
The second Zorro who fought Reverse Flash.
This is true. Anthony Hopkins is in the corner like, where's John Hurt?
I can't wait for him. I have to go be Odin soon. Tying it right back to Vikings.
I have to be in another Greek myth somewhere. Or, excuse me, Norse mythology somewhere.
Yeah, and then fucking Liam Neeson just walks by in that Qui-Gon robe and just like quietly shuffling along.
Get out of here, you. We don't like your kind here. So John McTiernan, all right, if you guys want to introduce him and break his filmography down, do we want to do that? Do we want to do that first?
Oh, boy. He's,
Before we get into the history?
The guy made a lot of good movies. Starting off with Predator.
Yes.
Yeah!
Going into Die Hard. The Hunt for Red October. Last Action Hero.
There's not a dud yet.
Nope.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
They're all good.
The Thomas Crown Affair.
Holy shit.
And the Rollerball. The remake with Paul Heyman.
Oh, wow. What a hard drop-off there.
Pass on that one. But everything else is amazing.
Well, unfortunately, he did not take a pass on Rollerball. In fact, he wiretapped the producer of the film.
What?
And, went to jail for it.
Are you kidding me?
2 counts of lying to the FBI.
Oh my god.
Why did he tap the producer?
I don't fully know. I read it right before I watched the film just out of curiosity.
Oh my god. He had his own Watergate? That's great.
He tried to deny it, then they had proof that he did it, and, the litigation went on for years.
Oh my goodness.
He served 328 days in jail, and he was fucking on house arrest for 12 months.
Fuck, man, almost a cool year.
Yeah, and then I guess, sometime after this or during all this, he lost all his fucking money to debt. They liquidated all his assets and took his fucking house.
Oh.
Wow.
Did he kill himself?
He's still alive. He's still kicking.
Yeah, I would have fucking I would have been like, well, that's that. Had a good run. See you later.
Yeah, it is over.
Yeah, I don't think he's made anything since Rollerball. He might have had one other film that didn't jump out at me, but that's it.
How come he's not running the convention circuit? He can make a buck. I'd go get my Predator poster signed.
He's got that thing on his leg. He can't really walk around too far.
He holds conventions on Skype in his kitchen.
I like to think he's building like cardboard sets from his movies and like running around in them with like his like grandchildren or something.
He's got like a giant like booger crusted beard in like his backyard, and he just has like miniatures of all of his movies. He's like, Predator's still happening.
Waiting for that check from NECA or NECA.
John, right here? I'm fine.
Yeah, sure. So that's John McTiernan's
legacy.
Question mark, yeah, for sure.
Career death.
So then we get to this film, and so like we were talking about, it was made 2 years prior. So this came out in 1999. So this would have came out in 97. So it would have. So this and Deep Rising would have been sharing the fucking the summer slots, I feel like.
Oh, this was lose-lose no matter where they fucking put this thing.
I know, but like that would have been a good summer.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So this was originally titled Eaters of the Dead, just like the novel, right?
Which is a much better title. I'm sorry.
I think so too, but it's probably also a much better book. Now, before I keep going with this, I just want to come back to the book one more time. The book is told like a diary from the perspective of other storytellers, right? So it's like the recovery, like I said, like H.P. Lovecraft kind of thing, where it's like the recovery of said document and or manuscript, and here we're explaining it, and to further add to it, there's like annotations on the side to make it more legit, which kind of confused a lot of people, and actually a lot of people thought this was a real thing. Like, how people like, wow. Again, like when people go searching for the Necronomicon, people are searching for Eben's manuscript and like origins and things, and they just don't exist.
Well, they don't exist because a Spaniard wrote texts that were found, I guess, in Baghdad.
About Vikings. Everyone was like, what is this poppycock?
What are you talking about?
I like that Michael Crichton wrote a book out of spite.
That's what it seems like, right? Like I'll show you this could be fucking fun.
I'll show you, young whippersnappers, that Beowulf is where it's at.
Well, guess what? We're gonna make a tribe that fucking eats people. What do you think of that?
You don't know what's hip. I know what's hip. I wrote Jurassic Park.
Yeah, right.
I wrote Congo.
Sure did. So dig. So this movie, now I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I want to say that there was like another hour to this film. What's the runtime on this fucking bad boy? Anybody know?
It's like 90. It's like 90 minutes.
I don't know if I could have watched that. I thought this movie already ran a little long, honestly.
I thought it was a brisk pace, but with this type of film, I don't mind the longer runtime, i.e., Lord of the Rings, right?
I don't mind the option of a director's cut.
Right.
No, yeah, right. No, I agree.
They re-edited this movie like 7 fucking times.
Oh my god.
And then cut a bunch of shit that John had shot originally, like it was from the book, right? Then they hired fucking Michael Crichton to come in, come back and finish directing the film by adding the filming these new scenes for it. And he went and changed a bunch of shit from the book as well, on purpose. But there was a whole score too that was done for this film, in the can.
Really?
In the can, done. And then Crichton came in and was like, fuck you. And then they hired Jerry Goldsmith and they rescored the whole fucking movie.
Dude, this shit just fucking happened with Justice League.
Really?
Yes, they Junkie XL and Hans Zimmer were actively working on the score. I believe it was almost done. And they're like, nah, fuck it, we're having Danny Elfman come in and just do lazy covers of other people's work, including his own.
Well, he's been doing that for years, to be fair.
Yeah, he came and did this, really, limp-dicked fucking superhero score that included his own Batman theme. I'm like, this is insulting.
That's kind of crazy, though. Jerry Goldsmith again.
Yeah, 2 in a row, not in a row. But, Deep Rising.
Oh, God, imagine that, Pluto Nash by Jerry Goldsmith.
That movie wishes it had fucking Jerry Goldsmith scoring that.
I know, right? It needed something.
This score, for some reason, every now and then, dangerously sounded like it was getting close to becoming the Harry Potter theme.
Yeah.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, and it just goes off and changes. Yeah.
Antonio Banderas just turns to the camera. I'm not going home. Not really.
He's Quirrell with the turban on.
Oh, jeez.
He's got the Dark Lord on the back of his neck. So the original guy who scored this was, I believe it's Graham or Greem. I don't know. Look that one up. Graham Revel. And I haven't heard any of the work that he's done, or at least know his name anyway. But yeah, he was replaced. The whole score was replaced with Jerry Goldsmith stuff. And yeah, so re-edited several fucking times, reshot by Michael Crichton himself. With deliberate changes to the source material, new score, fresh coat of paint. Now it's called The 13th Warrior, and we're 2 years off the time when it was supposed to be released, and here we go.
I heard this movie talked about in 30-20-10 recently, which is our pop culture show, and they mentioned Thomas Crown Affair because the person talking about said, yeah, this movie and Thomas Crown Affair came out really close together because John McTiernan had time to go do another film and then come back to this.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he did Thomas Crown Affair while doing this, technically, while still attached to this movie.
That's fucking insane.
But I think we can probably crunch this plot very easily because it's very condensed.
It's super condensed.
Yeah.
And when you're adapting Beowulf into another story and then adapting that story into a movie
with Michael Crichton peppered in there.
Right. It's even more abridged, but it's basically if you took Beowulf and stripped, I don't know.
It's like if you took Beowulf and you sucked all the legend out of it and you applied stuff that could conceivably happen and not absolute fantastical things.
Right. Right. You take out all of the kind of supernatural elements,
and then you suddenly ground and then you take the conflict that is in Beowulf and you ground the shit out of it, and suddenly you have this more believable but still somehow just as terrifying situation.
For sure. There's a lot of things I just want to preface with, like, there's a lot of things in this film that are done super well that I really like, and I'm just going to come out right now. I'm not going to tell you why, but I like this movie, and I didn't get a chance to go see it. I remember hearing about it and seeing trailers for it, and then just kind of fucking farted. It was like a fart in the wind. See you later. Never heard from it again. And then this is actually the first time I've actually sat down and watched the whole fucking thing. Because I've seen pieces of it, like, on television.
I feel like I've heard of this movie before I watched it earlier today. But, nothing fucking rang a bell. I'm sitting down watching this just like, okay, this is what this movie is. Sure.
This is my first experience with it. I didn't know anything about it going in except the fact that I know lots of people whom I trust who kept saying they've seen it and they loved it, and also it was a complete box office disaster.
Yeah. I had a little Shyamalan shit going on in my brain with this, almost like The Village.
Yes, I thought of that. I'm like, wow, this is how you do that concept, but don't make it immediately lame.
Yeah, it's really good.
I still like The Village. Come on.
Nah, fuck The Village. Because
I mean, I'm not gonna die in a hill over it.
No. But, I mean, it's a cool concept. It just kind of
it meanders.
I mean, I don't hate it, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, well, the twist isn't even the good. There should have been monsters, I guess, is what I'm saying.
And in present day.
Spoiler
to a 20-year-old film. I think we're okay.
Darth Vader's Luke's father.
Oh no!
Oh man!
Great. Now I can't go see the Rise of the Skywalker.
So, Antonio Banderas' character is a poet who decides to bang the wrong woman and gets exiled from his... Where does he live?
Baghdad.
He gets exiled from Baghdad, and basically he's given, like, this garbage job as an ambassador to, like, kind of, like, what is, like, the tribes out in, like, kind of the wilds and stuff.
Yeah, he's, like, respected, but, like, they're like, so, we're not going to kill you, but we're going to just send you away.
We can't execute you, we can't jail you, but we will tell you to leave.
Right, because he's like a noble or some shit.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like becoming the ambassador of a fucking outhouse somewhere.
Yeah, it's like being demoted to, like, I don't know, it's like, well, you're still an officer of the law, we're going to have you work at the mall, okay?
Yeah.
And while he's kind of out on, I guess, just kind of out riding one day, they run across some Vikings who then, through some cultural shenanigans, kind of conscript Antonio Banderas' warrior to go help them defend a Viking village from what they perceive to be as monsters from the wilds.
Fact. What's funny is most of that is streamlined in insane amount of time. It's just like, okay, we're here. Now we're here. Okay, great.
It's kind of one of my favorite things about this movie is it's just like, it's kind of going like, all right, let's go.
Well, and the first, like, I'll say 20 minutes heavily relies on, like, voiceover between Antonio Banderas and Omar Sharif, who's, like, this translator character that helps him in the beginning of the film.
Omar Sharif went on to say that he hated the way this film turned out.
Yeah, I read that too.
And he hated it so much that he took a break from acting. I think that's a little dramatic.
He almost retired.
That is really fucking dramatic.
Like, we're talking about the guy who was in fucking Arabian Nights. Like, come on. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that bad, like, to be that upset about it.
No, it's not bad.
But then again, what's his face? Fucking Alec Guinness didn't ever want to have anything to do with Star Wars, and it's like one of the most fucking money-making movies of all time.
This is true.
It's like Christopher Plummer being upset the way Force Awakens turned out and just, like, stopped acting. It's like, come on, dude, you were in that movie for 8 seconds.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Like, shut up.
What, did Omar show up for a day and was like, oh my god.
Yeah. I'm quitting acting even though I'm 70-something.
I'm going to my room. Don't bother me for a while.
So, Antonio Banderas, like Connor had said, he fucks the wrong chick, and dude's like, okay, you're gonna be ambassador of fucking Sandtown somewhere. See you later. So they leave, and him and Omar Sharif jump on a horse and literally hit the road. And we come across this... it's not even okay, so they come across a camp, but, like, they see them in a boat, or they're being chased by somebody at some point.
Well, first the sand people come after them.
That's right.
Some ridiculous historical shenanigans go down for them. This made me cackle, because it was like the Battle of Kruger. Antonio Banderas and Omar Sharif are on horsebacks, and they're like, oh no, a Tatar raider group, and they just get chased down to the river, and they're like, oh no, Vikings! Like...
Yeah, The Tuscan Raiders.
Oh, no.
Look, Jawas.
And the fucking Vikings are on a boat just, like, rowing up the stream. You're like, what a happy coincidence this is. And then the Raiders are like, yeah, we're good. And just leave.
Yeah, because you're about to get fucking fridged by some Northmen.
No fucking kidding.
You don't want to be accidentally murdered by the Vikings who just happened upon you.
That's the other thing, too. They're like, oh, shit, you don't want to fuck with those cats. Yeah. And then somehow they end up, they, like, walk, they're like, oh, I guess we should go the other way. And they, like, walk right into their base camp.
Yeah, they kind of walk right over to, it's not even like a base camp, it's a ceremony they have set up on the shoreline.
Well, yeah, it's actually, because their king had just died, you find out. Also, Omar Sharif knows how to speak Norse?
Well, I looked that up because I was so confused about that.
Yeah, no, it's not that. It's that Herger, the one that they first kind of start to commune with, speaks Latin.
Ah.
Exactly. And that wasn't really conveyed well, I feel like, unless you know Latin or you pick up on that. But I was just like, what the fuck? How does he know Norse?
It did sound strange for a second.
It's like a Wikipedia bullet point you gotta find.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it wasn't like Hunga Dinga Dark, and you know what I mean? It was like...
Well, thank God.
I'm not trying to fucking make fun of it, but I'm saying it didn't sound like a Norse accent. Like, I was like, what the fuck is...
No, yeah.
And that did sound weird. So that's cool. I guess this guy knows Latin, but why would he know Latin?
Who knows? You know, it's like the Vikings have been all over the fucking place. Like, I can kind of buy it that one of them knows a language that the rest of them haven't picked up on.
I'm talking about the Arabic man.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, like, you know, he's supposedly Antonio Banderas' like father's good friend, so maybe he's just like a world-traveled guy.
He could be. I mean, they're both learned, right? So, like,
yeah,
right.
They're neither of them are like shitheels. They are like not royalty, but like in that type of circle.
Yeah, like nobles or just like lords of some kind, whatever the equivalent of that is in Arabia.
He even says at some point, my mother was a noble.
But this character, this Viking character they're talking to, ends up throughout the film kind of becoming like Banderas' buddy. Like his one, like, true friend in this group.
I love this dude. Herger's my favorite character in this whole thing.
Herger's great, yeah.
His full name is Herger the Joyous.
Lines up, man.
They all have pseudonyms, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you call? Oh, no, surnames, right? The whatever. That's a surname.
Well, I think that's just like in their script character name is Herger the Joyous. Like the movie, they're never called that in the movie, but like if you look up their character names, they're all It's the leader, the joyous, the musician, the archer, the rider, the wise, the fat, the silent.
Right. If you look up their Norse legend, that's their name.
I was going to say, I'm just pulling this information straight from the TV show Vikings, so I don't know how fucking accurate that is, but I know in that show, which is semi-based on history, there's characters that have like last names, like there's Bjorn Ironside, and it's like, it has to do with like things he's done. It's not necessarily like just some family name.
Yeah, because Ivar the Boneless is he's a cripple, but like he's fucking terrifying.
Right.
Exactly.
Who's my favorite character in that show based on my brief experience with it.
Oh yeah, he's pretty good. His father Ragnar Lothbrok was pretty badass for the piece of shit Viking that he was. But anyway, it could just be names that they just threw at it, so when you saw the fucking end credits, you knew who you were talking about, or it could have been their Viking name. I mean, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Ooh, the Archer, I know that guy.
Well, they're all based on Beowulf's party, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
They're all slightly changed, yeah, because, like, our main dude his name isn't Beowulf, but I'm gonna call him fucking Beowulf, because it might as well be.
Yeah, he's Beowulf.
It's Bullywolf, or something like that.
It's Bullwulf. Bullywulf.
Yeah, Bullwulf.
I was like, thanks, Crichton, you fucking jackass.
I want to talk about this dude for just a second. His name is, the actor who plays Bullwulf is Vladimir Kulik, and he is, first of all, he's massive, and not like massive like a pro wrestler, but like you look at everybody else on screen, you're like, that guy is the center of attention every time, because he's got this menacing looking blonde hair and a face like a fucking, like, it's like a craggy mountain, and he just looks like he has death in his eyes all the time.
He's the Scourge of Moldavia, man.
He looks like Vigo. He's also the voice of Ulfric Stormcloak in Skyrim, so I knew he had an effect on me somewhere.
Oh my god, is it really?
Yes, it is. And if you haven't played Skyrim, I don't know, Joe, have you?
No.
He is one of the central characters in a plot between basically the Skyrim natives, who are basically Nords,
He's kind of an asshole.
He is kind of an asshole and kind of a racist.
And he voices this guy?
Yes.
That's fucking cool, though.
A great character.
Oh, he's a cool character because he assassinates the king in Skyrim with a shout, which is like this magical word you can speak that will either destroy something utterly or kind of have some magical effect.
So their king just so they roll up on these guys, Antonio Banderas and Omar Sharif roll up on these Vikings, and he's speaking Latin to him, and that's how they translate to Omar, and then Omar translates to Antonio Banderas in English so we can understand, but they're speaking Arabic to each other, which is cool. Now remember that. So they find out that their king is dead, or he had just died, so they're about to have a funeral for him. And they do. And then, complete with burning the fucking boat and everything. True Viking funeral.
But not before one of Beowulf's brothers stands up, tries to murder him, and then gets promptly wrecked.
Promptly wrecked? This motherfucker...
Those are Vikings, man. That shit happened.
He gets gutted like a goddamn fish.
He stands up for, first of all, this guy has it coming, because, this woman passes by with a tray of drinks. This piece of shit shoves her into Beowulf. He takes a swing and just gets his ass kicked.
Dude, that was their life, man. They gotta take any fucking advantage they can get.
He's like, I knew it was gonna be you.
He fucking stands up and just fucking cuts this dude in half, pretty much. Like, the whole front of him opens up.
Yeah, he just stands up and just slices his chest all the way open. And there's blood everywhere, and everyone's like, all right, back to eating.
Yep, just sit back down and fucking... You were saying, Antonio Banderas? You were gonna sing us a song of glory?
I do like, too, how they have in the Viking funeral, they actually have, like, his courtesan or his wife or whoever that's supposed to be also sacrificed, which is fucked up, but that's what they did.
Yeah.
And she is. She sure is. And this is the first taste of it. Well, besides the guy getting fucking gutted at the table, this is the first instance, or the second instance of Antonio Banderas being like, what the fuck is wrong with these savage motherfuckers?
This is how you guys do dinners?
They constantly are showing Ahmad's fucking eyes just, like, twitching in this film.
Yeah.
I kind of love that for a while, he's this constant look of disbelief. He's like, my God.
Oh, man.
This is also normal to you people.
Yeah. Then it's the next morning and, like, everybody's waking up from being drunk in the exact same spot we left them at the table.
It's fantastic.
It's great. The Vikings, like, start passing around this fucking, like, wash bowl, and, like, these dudes are, like... drinking the water in it and then like spitting it back in it and then like hands it off to the other one, does the same exact thing.
He blows his nose in it.
Yeah, hands it off to the last guy and he's like washing his face with it and blowing his fucking nose out in it, and he hands it to Antonio Banderas. He's like, that's fucking disgusting.
He's like, I think not, and just passes it to Omar Sharif.
He pushes it away with like one finger across the table.
Omar Sharif looked like he might have done it until that guy blew snot into the fucking thing. Like, he's like, I gotta follow their culture. Ow! Maybe not.
Pass.
And it's not just like a casual, like, it's not one nostril blow. He takes like 4 or 5 attempts and just starts shooting snot rockets into this thing.
Oh, yeah. Then this messenger boy appears, right?
The little page boy haircut. It was so funny.
Yeah, there's some kind of, I don't know how much you guys know about the Viking culture or what are they called? The Vargarian? Is that accurate?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm more of like a fan of Norse culture than I am knowledgeable of it.
Varangians? Or Varangians?
I'm not sure. I know who this kid comes from is King Hrothgar, who is like one of the, I want to say he was like the king of Denmark back in the day.
There is no king of Denmark. Remember?
Yeah. Thanks, Granny Van Daam.
This is before or after he banished the Van Dams.
I think this is before the whole incest thing and coming to fucking New England.
My God, of all the movies to tie back to.
Check out Bleeders Season 2, episode I Don't Know.
You know I'm here somewhere.
So this kid comes in and like, now, okay, this is what I wanted to ask you. So they say something like, oh, he's been waiting in the mist to wait because like the Vikings aren't sure if he's real or not.
Right.
Because Antonio Banderas' character comes in, he's like, there's a boy on a boat out there, and Herger's like, yep. And he's like, okay, what is that important? And Herger's like, basically says like he's making himself seen. And when Antonio Banderas kind of asks why, he's like, because he kind of wants us to know he's real, because if he came from the mist, like we wouldn't be sure if he was some kind of spirit or some kind of, like,
Right.
like malevolent entity or something like that.
Or I guess that's like a cultural thing. They don't fully understand, like,
Yeah.
what's real and what's not.
Oh, there's a lot of that, and I think it's funny because Antonio Banderas is like, "What the fuck are you talking about? He's standing right there.
Yeah, he's right there. I could smack him.
I can see him."
I could throw a rock at him right now.
His set of cultural beliefs are like completely different than theirs, and I love kind of those little touches. They give it to you subtly, but informatively, which I really like.
He's like waving his hands at the kid. He's like, "Look, child, like I can see him."
Yeah, he sure is standing there. So the little kid comes in, and he's like, "Oh yeah, the ancient evils come back, and they're going to kill us all." Wait, that I fucking just delved into some fucking Lambert there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Anyway, the kid's like, "Oh yeah, there's some kind of ancient evil plaguing our lands, and my dad sent me here to tell you guys that we need help. Can you help us?"
I'm here to call the Viking Avengers.
Yeah, pretty much. A Viking Avengers assemble.
Well, and then, he's asking for help, and Beowulf is kind of like, yeah, okay, we'll help you. But no one really stands up, and then you just hear this fucking bones rattling.
I'm here, everyone. Back to the party you shouldn't have.
This old fucking hooded lady comes in with a goddamn turtle shell full of bones. She's like King Willie, man.
It's like the fucking the witch from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Like, she comes in rattling bones in this little bag.
Oh yeah, man. It's always the same.
Yeah.
And she's like the town seer, or like the oracle, whatever you want to call her.
Yeah.
Truly dread. Truly dread.
But yeah, she kind of comes in, and it's Granny Van Daam, obviously. She's just found a new place to hang out. There's lots of people.
She's still looking for Gunner, man. She's still trying to find him.
Yeah, lots of men, just for flavor.
Yeah, she's trying to get them to take off their fucking tunics.
She's like, "I need 13 of you, yes.
Naked?
Naked. I mean, cut that out. I didn't say that.
I mean, what?
What?
Also, the kicker here is like, when the kid says that they need help to fight this evil, they are all convinced that they are these monsters that they don't even fucking speak the name of.
Yeah, the Voldemorts.
An army of Voldies.
Yeah, these things are called the Wendell, and we don't get that name for a while because nobody wants to talk about it.
Which kind of sounds like Wendigo.
Which kind of sounds like Grendel.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking the same thing.
That's exactly what it is. It's like half man, half beast.
I'll be honest, I was waiting for a fucking arm to get stapled to a wall, but we never did get that.
I was waiting for Crispin Glover to yell at Angelina Jolie for a little while, too.
Oh, God, I forgot that existed.
Yeah.
What a piece of shit.
I haven't actually seen that.
It's not a good movie at all.
I didn't think so.
With that, like, horrible effects, they're like, it's like a new style of effects. It's like the Polar Express.
Yeah. With Beowulf.
It's that fucking horrifying Zemeckis animation, but he tried to do it with, like, with the Beowulf story, and it comes off as so fucking cheesy. And then if you watch the director's cut, it's horrifyingly gruesome and just really off-putting, and the whole thing is just like, there's like an entire scene in that movie that feels like a Cirque du Soleil act.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did see the one when Grendel attacks like them all in the hall.
Yeah, and Beowulf is doing naked cartwheels across a chandelier, and his men are being devoured beneath him.
He sure is. The fucking people are getting their heads bitten off and fucking smashed in.
And he's like, "Look at me do a twirl, yeah!
Look at my balls." So Granny Van Daam rolls the fucking dice out of the turtle shell, and she gets fucking Yahtzee and says, "You know what? There's 13 motherfuckers I gotta go on this trip." But everybody's kind of stepping up, right? And saying their piece in Norse, and Omar is translating it.
You have my bow and my axe.
Yeah, you can count on my axe, you fucker.
And my Mjolnir.
Sigvalsen's there.
When are we going?
Oh, P.S. So Sigvalsen, Goodenough.
That guy.
Sure.
Does anybody else agree with me that if Sigvalsen were still alive, he'd be in this film?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 1,000%. I think he'd be, Beowulf.
I mean, he's in fucking Die Hard. John would have brought him back, right?
Yeah, I firmly believe he probably would have been Beowulf.
So yeah, Valfka's like, we need men to kill the ancient evil. So Granny Van Daam rolls the fucking dice. 13 warriors, everybody steps up. But before so there's 12 warriors picked.
She's like, "You, dog meat!"
Yeah, she holds up this fucking token of this little brown man, and she's screaming something. She's like, "Hey, you, Antonio Banderas, the fake Arab, you need to go too." And they're like, and Omar's like, oh, the 13th warrior isn't the
Cannot be a Northman.
one of the Northmen. It has to be somebody else.
And Antonio Banderas says, all right, it was nice knowing you, Omar.
Okay, Antonio Banderas, you need to go be the 13th warrior, TM.
And then there's a record scratch, and Antonio Banderas is like, now you must wonder how I got here.
I don't always 13th warrior, but when I do,
It's a complete accident.
it's a complete accident.
My brother Machete put me in a time machine.
Antonio kills.
Yeah.
Antonio kills again.
This isn't really a machine gun. It's actually a machine gun in my guitar case.
And then, slam cut, and then he's just like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna go 13th warrior now, and like, he has no objections to it.
Oh, it's a 13th warrior registered trademark, because then we just hop on a fucking the trail. We hop on a horse and fucking go.
Wave goodbye to Omar. See you later. Never again.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, this guy literally can't speak to these dudes at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Period.
Now, again, like I said before, we can only understand Antonio Banderas and Omar because they're speaking Arabic and we need to know what they're saying in English, right?
It's English in quotes. It's for, it's viewer purpose, essentially.
Right, it's for viewing purposes. Now, I thought this part of the film was so fucking cool because, like, it's this quick kind of montage shots of them at their camps each night.
Yeah.
Like, each night they camp, right? Because they're on horseback. And they're just spitting fucking Norse, and he has no idea what they're saying. But then after a while, after a few of these scenes, you hear words start to come through the Norse, like horses, and like, and then I said to him, whatever, you know what I mean? And then by the time the end of the montage comes, one of the dudes like makes fun of Antonio Banderas' mom. He's something like, yeah, and she was a fucking brown whatever shadow person, just like his mom was, I guess.
And then the audio, like the music and everything else drops out, and Antonio Banderas just goes, he's like, my mother was of noble birth.
And then you hear that record scratch again.
Yeah.
I at least knew who my father was.
You fucking pig whore motherfucker, he says. There's
Pig whore, he calls him, pig whore something, and like the Vikings are like,
what? A what? Fucking dude goes over to fucking beat his ass. He's like, where'd you learn how to speak our language? And he's just like, I listened. And the guy just goes, fucking A, give me a hug.
And then he can just speak it beautifully the rest of the film.
Oh, the whole film. Now everybody's speaking English because we can understand them. Since he can, we can. And I thought that was just really fucking cool how they did that.
I also like the Bully Wolf kind of immediately sees him as perceptive and I think pulls him aside, not like almost immediately after this, and kind of, okay, sometimes, and even through rewinding, the accents in this movie really made me lose some of the words they were speaking.
Agreed. It was also very low. I had to turn it up.
Yes. Like I had to go look up the word Wendell. I wasn't sure they were saying. And like, is this where he kind of pulls him aside and asks him to write?
Yeah, he says you can write, you can draw sounds, he says.
Yeah.
Because he's a poet and he writes or whatever. So he basically teaches Vigo, or Beowulf, the Arabic script, how to write.
Right, yeah.
And I like that there's an immediate, like, between, like, the more respectable members, the more, I guess, intelligent and kind of the leader role members of this group are like, no, you're not a complete putz, and like, we're gonna make this work immediately.
Right. It's also kind of cool there that like he's teaching him Arabic script but using Norse to have him read it, right? So he can read Arabic now, but he knows how to but he can't really speak Arabic, but he can read Arabic.
Right.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about this movie is that you do have these two cultures separated by a lot as far as their theology, their language, their customs, their like a lot.
Religion.
And and it's this very, very respective merging of cultures, and they just get built throughout the film. Like it's not an immediate respect game or like that. Like these completely different people really come together and like merge their cultures, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's just really well done the way they do it. So yeah. Do we do the horse thing now?
Sure, because this is funny too.
Yeah, they keep calling his horse a dog because it's so small, and then Antonio Banderas is like, "Yeah, I'll show you about my horse," and he jumps on his fucking horse, and then he just starts like jumping over all of these fences and shit.
He thought he was at Lon Lon Ranch for a second.
He runs a fucking full obstacle course and then jumps over one of these fucking Vikings.
Oh, dude, he's spending all 5 of those carrots in one shot when he jumps over the...
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, he fucking jumps... The last thing he does is jumps over Herger and his horse. With his horse.
Yeah.
And it looks so fucking bad. It's like... terribly composited.
It looks bad, but it does not look as bad as this fucking shot of this boat in the ocean that we're coming up to next.
Because that's the next thing we're doing.
Yup, it looks pretty bad.
And they show this twice, because in the opening of the movie, it starts with this boat in the water, and then kind of there's like a flashback to everything we just talked about. And it's like, you're really going to show this shot twice?
Yeah, it like the same one, right? There's this. It's so shitty, and it like zooms out from one of the Vikings' faces, and like it like goes down a giant wave. It just looks like shit.
Yeah, well, and like the track in the boat is bad too. Like it's like juddering and it's not quite stable or anything like that.
No, it's like floating on it, kind of.
Yeah.
But all the practical scenes look cool.
And like also, Antonio Banderas totally does in the beginning of this movie, like Connor, you joke about it, but he straight up does one of those, hey, I bet you're wondering how I got here.
Oh, it is.
He does. I forgot. In the beginning of the movie, he's like, hello, I'm Antonio Banderas, and let me tell you how I became the 13th warrior.
I'm just a poet.
I swear to God, I thought that was going to be like one of the last scenes in the movie, and it's like 20 minutes in, and it's like, nope, we're back to this already.
Yeah, I don't know why we needed that either. To grab you, I guess? To grab you.
I love that he is, again, like, not through his own fault or anybody else's, but he is always copiously overdressed for a lot of these situations.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of in, like, comfortable clothing, and he's, like, got, like, robe on robe on robe. I'm like, man.
It's probably fucking cold, man. Like, this is like a torrential storm in the ocean that they're trying to navigate.
That's the style of his culture, right?
Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. It's to no one's fault of his own, but, like, he's, like, trudging through mud and shit. I'm like, yeah, you're not in clothes for this climate. Like,
Well, they're all dressed in, like, furs and shit, too.
Yeah.
But they're also in torrential downpour on, like, 70-foot fucking waves. I was like, holy shit. And these guys are just like, yep, another day in the fucking Corps or whatever.
Another day as a Viking.
Just being a Viking.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, some dude like brings him food and he's like throwing up because he's all seasick. He's like, here, you eat something, you fucking crazy bastard. He's like, are we almost there? He's like, yep, yep, mm-hmm.
We'll be there as soon as this flaming arrow hits land.
Yep.
I thought that was cool too, because they seem to have like this like multi-leveled fear of mist. It's not trustworthy. Like it's like the mist is deception to these people, and I kind of like that because it comes in various forms. It comes in the way that the boy was standing, making himself known, and then in this, like the mist would obscure their vision of land, so they have to kind of find a way to navigate through it. And then the mist is kind of foreboding later on in the movie too.
Yeah, I like that, and I guess that's part. I've read like the first, if you want to even call them chapters, but like chapter of Beowulf, and I haven't read the whole fucking thing, so I don't know if this is like a part of that story or if it's a big part of like Viking mythology or storytelling or what have you of with the mist stuff. But like you guys were saying, it's so cool because like first he's Beowulf is like yelling into the distance. And I didn't know what the fuck he was doing at first. I thought he was trying to get like a signal from somebody else, like on land or looking for somebody. But now I'm thinking about it, because dude tells Antonio Banderas to shut the fuck up because I guess he's listening for how far his voice travels, like an echo maybe?
Yeah.
And then they start shooting the fucking flaming arrows, and then they finally see it hit land, and then he's like, okay, there's land.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It's cool shit. I love it.
Yeah, and I don't know about the mist either. I know, I read Beowulf, fuck God, in high school, so we're talking, a while ago at this point. But in the mist, I just feel like that'd be something that, if you've never really had to deal with that before, especially if you're out in the friggin' ocean,
well,
on this little dinghy of a boat, like, what else are you going to do? It's either that or you're crashing onto the fucking land.
Yeah, you have to find some way around it.
There's no fucking lighthouses, you know what I mean? It's like, what, 945 or some shit?
Yeah, it's fucking early, and you got to think
it's year 7.
Yeah. If this fog is rolling in on a consistent basis when shit's going bad, like your brain is just gonna tell you that, oh, this is a bad fucking thing. So yeah, they get on land, and they're starting to fucking, find their bearings, and then Hrothgar's fucking messenger shows up, and they almost kill this poor bastard.
Yeah, they do.
They're like, we smell perfume. It must be a woman. And then this fucking tarnished warrior comes up on a horse, and he's like, follow me.
So they get to this village, and it's just ransacked to shit. All the men are dead. I think one of them even says there's not a man here, but between 15 and 50 or some shit like that.
Except the king's son, and he's just the worst.
Oh, who's that fucking douchebag from Game of Thrones? The kid, the child, prince.
Oh, Joffrey?
Yeah, he's like fucking Joffrey, this guy.
He is very Joffrey.
He doesn't really do anything, though, honestly.
He's just a fucking asshole.
But he's immediately detestable. You're just
He has one scene where he's a dickhead, and then he kind of just fucks off for the rest of the film.
He sure does.
As he should have, because he's a dickhead.
We get to the king's house. It's a log cabin, a big-ass fucking log cabin with these sweet, giant, serpent-carved, wood-carved doors. Really cool shit. Set design is cool.
Oh, they're so awesome. And, there's a cool moment where, and Antonio Banderas, since from his perspective a lot, you get him taking in, the architecture of this place.
Mm-hmm. And just the surroundings.
Yeah, and, he's just kind of in awe of everything. And, in this room, he looks up and there's a window that's just open at this very top for, the rain and the sunshine, to the sunlight to come in. And he kind of, he takes note of it.
Right. And just, everything there, because it's very, mountain man shit. This guy's coming from...
Yeah, it's mud and wood.
Right, and he's coming from cities of stone and sand and some type of mud and concrete, but we're talking about hot arid climates with a lot of nothing around, and now we're in a lush...
Yeah, this is mud, wood, surrounded by more mud and wood and water and mountains.
Yeah.
We're in a lush forest, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Also, when they first get to the town, before they meet with King Hrothgar, they did... A bunch of them comment on how there's no defenses for this fucking town, so they're surprised anyone's even alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if we've, they're not from there specifically. I don't know if we need to mention that, but yeah, this is a strange place to them.
No, but the general idea is that the Vikings had similar, structures throughout all of, Norway and Denmark and
right.
Sweden.
They're supposed to be the best of the best, I guess, and that's why they come ask them for help. Actually, they're basically your fucking predator mercs, man. Straight up.
I was getting Predator vibes at some point because I'm you just switch the forests.
You switch the setting and the fucking time period, and there you go.
Bam, ba-da-dam, bam, bam.
They talk to this king, and he kind of explains to Beowulf in more detail what they're dealing with, and we said, there are these Wendelos, or these Wendel creatures that they explain have claws, and they attack when the fog rolls in, but beyond that they don't really have much information.
Yeah, and there's a guy with one eye who I guess is the village idiot who won't shut the fuck up. He's just I lost an eye to one of these things, and let me tell you this story I'm sure that everyone in this room has heard 30 times.
Yeah, he's just they got great big claws, and great big mouth, and great big teeth, and hair all over their bodies.
And sometimes they walk on 2 legs, and then sometimes 4. And, I'm imagining everyone in the room is oh, God, here he goes again.
Oh, my God, would somebody shut him up?
Some guests walk in, you feel you gotta do this whole bit every time.
Yeah, and then he's oh, yeah, and then the fireworm. When that comes down from the mountain, it's bad news.
Well, the fireworm kills me, too, because I guess that's supposed to be the fucking dragon from Beowulf, because when they're explaining that,
right,
Antonio Banderas is fire snake. He's that's not real.
A dragon. I don't believe in dragons.
That's stupid. You're stupid.
That's stupid. Your culture's stupid. Here's a book.
Well, and, like you were saying, they play up the angle of, them, the Vikings being ignorant about certain things, and
right.
Ahmed basically commenting on it and, putting them in their place. But there's stuff, that kind of gets flipped on him a few times that I thought was pretty effective.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I love the relationship this movie has with the idea that, these things might be supernatural and they might not be, because they kind of very quietly push that envelope a little bit, and then almost when it comes too close, they pull it back.
There is a tidbit, when we get to these things, there's a tidbit that I want to share with you that is mentioned in the book briefly, but not mentioned in the film anywhere, which kind of makes a little bit more sense.
Oh, okay.
They all go out to this fucking farm after this little boy kind of trails in the town.
This was harrowing. This was terrifying.
Oh, it was scary as hell. This little boy's running across the moors, all bloody and naked.
And Antonio Banderas sees him. He just, like, you can't see what this kid looks like. He just sees a boy running across, like, the grass, like, down below. And, like, him and Herger see it first, and their reaction is fantastic. Like, like, the one thing I like about this movie is that no one's ever like, bullshit. Like, everyone takes the situation at hand very seriously.
Yeah.
And everyone reacts accordingly all the time. And him and Herger run up to this kid. And you finally see him, and he is naked and covered in blood. And just he's not even speaking words. He's just making sounds. Like, he's fucking petrified.
And screaming and like covering his ears. It's very nerve-wracking. It's a very scary kind of scene.
Yeah, it's visceral. And they get up to him, and before they can ask him any questions, like the village, I guess she's the queen?
Question mark? I guess she is. I think she is, because she commands not commands, but she's very authoritative in a lot of scenes. So I'm pretty sure she is.
She runs up and immediately covers his kid in a blanket, and she's like, I know who he is. And she's like, where he's from is right up the road. And like, no one's like, all right, yeah, let's go bother the kid. They're like, no, get your shit. We're going to this farm.
And they do.
And I love the way they approach this, because they all take various points of entry. It's like watching a SWAT team.
Yeah, like a Black Ops fucking SWAT team or something go in there.
Yeah, they all find a point of entry. It's awesome.
And also, this place looks like it was ransacked already. There's like portions of it that are broken up or burned.
Yeah, this place it's in bad shape.
It looks like an awesome treehouse, though.
You have this great line where Eben, he steps in front of the archer and he's like, "Don't step in front of me."
Don't stand in front of me.
Also, I just remembered this line, and I just want to throw it out there because I thought it was kind of funny. When he's explaining his fucking name to them earlier in the film, and he's like, yeah, it's Ahmed Ibn Falan, and they're like, Ibn? He's like, no, well, Ibn means son of. That's not really my name. They're like, we'll call him Ibn. And he just kind of lets it go.
And then they end up like calling him little brother the whole fucking movie.
So they, Beowulf kind of says like, all right, breach. And they do, and it's like, one of them has climbed on the roof and does like a fucking Olympic, like acrobatic fucking flip roll into this place, but it's like he goes right through like a wall that's made of like straw and sticks.
Yep. Fucking blows right through it.
He crashes through like Captain Marvel and Avengers, like he just bam.
I love this shot because again, we're telling it from Eben's perspective, and it's like these wide shots.
Yes.
Of them going into this house because Antonio Banderas is still far away. And they all come out, and then finally they wave them in because it's all right. And now we go towards the house, and now we're with Antonio Banderas, and he kind of goes in and inspects the place for himself, and he finds this body strung up like a predator victim with its fucking head twisted off.
I was waiting for a wampa to walk around the corner.
Yeah.
It's got one arm. It's like, God damn it, there's more people here, too.
There's a fucking lightsaber embedded in the fucking wood floor somewhere. The woman has, like, bite marks all over her, and she's all dead in the corner.
That was one of the first things I noticed. I'm like, those are fucking teeth marks.
Oh, yeah. And then he goes over to the bed because he sees, like, a little kid's hand, like, peeking out of it. And he lifts up the blanket, and a fucking severed kid hand, like, arm falls out, like Georgie's fucking arm falls out.
Pennywise was there.
It was me. Sorry, Georgie.
One of the things that I like about the scene and a lot that pops in the movie is that there's a lot of story points and acting done through body language, because the wide shots you're talking about, these dudes go in, swords ready, gung-ho, and they come out and their shoulders are down and they're kind of looking at the floor, and when they wave them in, they're like, I mean, yeah, come on down, because there's no saving the situation.
It's very well done.
Another thing, though, with this particular scene is, Banderas throws up just from the sight, but you kind of see off, like, in the shadows, one of these Wendell people just kind of observing them.
Yeah, there's like a scout or some shit that's like checking them out, and they're actually far off on the ridge, so they were kind of just there and then split. They find an idol. They find the fucking the Rawhead Rex idol.
the Venus statue.
Rawhead!
Yeah, they're all rawhead worshippers, eating fucking people and shit.
Antonio Banderas is like, I found these. It smells like urine.
Somebody pissed all over this guy.
Somebody pissed all over this whole room.
All the penises are missing.
He ate all of the dicks off.
But they say, like, that's the mother of the Wendell. It's right, the mother of the Wendell?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they all have these little idols, and that's like the mother figure for these people or things or whatever's.
Grendel's mom. Keeping up, people?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go.
But again, it's the Venus statue. It's that famous statue. You know, look it up, the Venus statue. It pops up a bunch of times in this film.
It's very akin to it, yeah.
I mean, it is straight up.
Is it straight up?
Oh yeah,
that's interesting. So yeah, and then they see them kind of scamper away or whatever, like far off in the distance, and then they go back to the king's house. And that's really where you get that whole thing. Fucking One Eye tells them about all the shit, but a big part of it is the mist of the mountains. So these fucking things come out of the fucking misty mountains and besiege this town.
And I believe they basically get ready for another attack, don't they?
For nightfall, yeah. They barricade the fucking king's house and they kind of camp out on the floor in the middle.
This was actually where, because I didn't know this was directly based off Beowulf, but this is where I was like, this is fucking Beowulf.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. It looks like fucking Beorn's fucking stable. And all the hobbits are sleeping together?
Yeah.
Except they get ransacked by fucking monsters.
Yeah. And not just turn into like, oh, you guys can stay here.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get ready for night, and I think Antonio Banderas and Healfdane have a conversation about they call it the Thundering Mountains?
I think there's something with rain and like thunder.
Yeah, it's a peak nearby that comes up later on that these things seem to come down from, but it's also coincidentally like where like I guess because the acoustics of the land, like the thunder is very loud.
Well, and also the ocean kind of just the way it hits the rocks, it just is really loud. So I think that's also why they make that equation.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There's also, this is the first of a couple times where Antonio Banderas is like, oh, how can you sleep? Like, this is fucking terrifying. And he's like, yeah. Oh, fear profits a man nothing, so you might as well just get your rests because there's nothing we can do about it right now.
Yeah. Well, that and he's Herger the Joyous is very... Like, I mean, like, everyone's gonna die, so why are you concerned with it? Like, besides, when we go, we're gonna go to a massive fucking dinner hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they're talking about. And each time something bad happens, they're like, what the fuck's wrong with you, Antonio Banderas? Like, just chill out. Like, this is just the way this shit goes.
This is all fucking written. Chill out.
But they're also not being entirely honest with him, because when they go to sleep back at Hrothgar's fucking palace, let's call it, he wakes up, like, in a cold sweat. And one of the Vikings kind of grabs him and pulls him down, and he starts looking around, and he realizes that
nobody's asleep.
Yeah, they're all fake snoring, like looking around, like waiting for an attack of some kind.
And you see these fucking things like creeping around outside, like through the cracks in the fucking walls and shit.
These things come in like the fucking ring wraiths in Brie, okay? Like
they fucking blow right through the walls.
Yeah,
they literally fucking crash through the walls. It's really awesome, and I kind of was just like I didn't expect this, and like my jaw kind of dropped a little bit because we get some crazy shit in this scene.
Yeah, and it's really claustrophobic, and like the way they're shot is dark. So like when you first see, you're like, those are bear people.
Yeah, they're totally monsters, right? And there's a couple glimpses in this scene where you're like, what the fuck? Because one of the dudes like chops off one of their feet, and they're like clad with like long ass claws on their feet.
Yeah, they've got what looks like it's got to be fresh bear pelts and like bear feet and claws that have been sewn or like attached to their hands. So when these things get cut, they bleed.
No, that dude's foot is his foot. It's like.
Are you sure? Because it looked like a bear. It looked like a straight up bear paw.
I know it did, but I think that's the point. And now that we're introduced to these things, I want to just make the comment that they're not monsters, they're not demons, they're just dudes, but they're really like feral kind of primitive people, right?
Yeah, they're more like a tribe, like tribal people than they are Vikings.
Here's the magical thing that you don't know in the movie is that these are relict Neanderthals.
Oh, I can kind of see that.
Yeah, so that's why.
Because there's a scene later, not to jump ahead, into the said scene, but you get a good view of a few of these people later on, and a couple of them did have that kind of caveman look to them.
Yeah, so they got like they're well, they should be a lot stronger, and in this scene they are. And I feel like the other cut of the movie might have shown that a little bit better.
You know what this suddenly reminds me of now?
Congo?
No, Bone Tomahawk.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, those, at first you're like, the fuck are those? But you're like, oh, they're cave-dwelling cannibals. Oh, no! Like,
yeah, they're just crazy-ass Native Americans that are fucking cannibals.
And, but, like, they had to be, like, you know, like, these people, like, something that was really kind of on the outskirts of any developing society, who never got swept up in like any kind of like cultural evolution.
Well, the fucking bear's out of the bag because I mean we don't find out till later that they're people, but they are.
And I guess they're attacking just because their food source is low. You know, they're sick of attacking, you know, outsiders or like, you know, people on the edge of humanity.
They just seem extremely aggressive or hostile. Like this, because they're cannibals, I guess they would just find like a village like this that's utterly defenseless and just like prey on it until they don't have to.
Yeah, they really don't go into it. I guess they just eat people. I mean, they are the proverbial eaters of the dead, TM. So, you know.
Well, the best part of this fucking scene, they cut one of their hands off, but like honestly, the best part is this one guy, one of the Vikings, gets his fucking head cut off.
Oh, poor Ragnar gets slashed across, I think, the throat, and then like 4 dudes jump on him and just pop his head off. Like
this one dude grabs this guy's head, twists it, and rips it the fuck off.
Yup, it comes right off.
And another one of them dies, but they don't even bother showing it. Like after everything kind of like the dust clears, they're like, all right, where's so-and-so? And they're walking around. There's just this fucking mutilated corpse on the ground.
Yep. And they're all just kind of like, yep, that happened. Okay.
Yeah, and this is something I'm going to bring up as the movie progresses. Yeah, it was Higelac and Ragnar who died during this. I couldn't tell you which one of the two of them are, except for like I know Ragnar had a brown hair and a beard.
And they make a point, which it comes up later, believe it or not, but that they took the heads of the two they killed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they take the heads of everyone they killed, which is the guy that got the farm had no head. But
right.
At first, when these two guys die, and Antonio Banderas is like, oh my god, like, it's terrible. Herger's like, whatever, they're in Valhalla now. Like, it's cool. And he, like, fucking bites an apple and walks away or some shit. Like,
also, Banderas has this massive claw mark across his face from one of these fucking guys going after him.
So one of these bear men come after him, and he has to fend for himself, right? Because right before everybody wakes up, Herger's like, you better fucking get your shit together. And he's like, but I'm not the fighter. And he's like, you are now. And he fucking gives him a sword. And he's like, yeah, when we get up, when they break in, we're all going to get up and we're going to, you know, fight, you know, we're all going to put our backs together and then fight these things. So one of these things goes after Antonio Banderas and he fucking stabs it in the stomach.
Yeah.
But it doesn't like go all the way through, and it fucking grabs the sword, grabs Antonio Banderas and fucking body presses him into like a pillar.
Yep.
Anyway, he gets his fucking ass handed to him, and he's scared as shit. See, the thing is, they have the upper hand because they have the fear on these people. So yeah, so they all split, and all of the bodies that these guys killed a few of these things, right? Or these guys, and all the bodies are gone. So they're like, well, what the fuck happened? Oh, they must be demons. They're demons. And they're like, no, they must have took the fucking dead bodies with them, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I liked how these guys are there and they're kind of like they don't see through it immediately, but like, nah, something else is afoot here.
Well, because Beowulf's like, well, this blood looks pretty fucking real on my sword, so...
I think even Herger says, like, yeah, the Arab gutted one, but I don't know where that one is.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, then the next fucking morning, no defenses. No, guess what? Now they got him.
They're gonna fucking build him, man.
They've turned this place into a fucking thorn, it's just covered in spikes.
Side note, there's just like this chick who's like kind of Antonio Banderas' love interest, but they don't really do anything with it, which I was happy about. She's just kind of there to take care of him. She puts like cow piss on his face to heal his wounds.
Yeah, he's like, just water, just water.
She's like, all right, cool. When the pus sets in, you have a fever next morning, then you die. Don't come complaining to me.
And he's like, all right, put the cow piss on my face.
Put the cow urine on my forehead.
Piss on my face. Rawhead, do it.
You must really like this Rawhead character. I've never heard of him before.
Baptize you.
You gonna put this on a rag, or should I just let you stand over me and just...
She's like, nope. She licks her finger, she sticks it in the bowl, wipes it in his forehead. He's like, what have I done?
Just get on your knees there.
Also in this scene, while they're building these forts, building these defenses, Antonio Banderas can't cut this fucking wood with this big-ass sword he's wielding.
It's a fucking broadsword. It's like 200 pounds.
Yeah, they gave this small man who's not accustomed to this kind of weapon like a fucking claymore. Like, he's swinging this thing like it's a fucking 10-ton baseball bat.
He's like fucking Monster Hunter with that thing.
He goes up to the fucking smithy and you kind of see it from like far away, so you don't really hear what he's saying.
It's so good.
I love this scene. He's like, "You have metal work here. I need to do something."
And then he makes a sword that he would not have known about or had at this time period, but nevertheless, he gets a scimitar made from his fucking longsword.
No, I think they have scimitars in Arabia.
It wasn't, I looked it up and it wasn't geographically accurate.
From where he's from?
Yeah.
I totally get that, because that happens in historical movies all the time. Like, people will have, like, anachronistic weaponry and armor.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a time period thing or a geographical thing. Like the weapon that would have made more sense for where he's from would have been slightly different. It wouldn't have been curved.
But I think even people who aren't familiar with that, like even like deep experts would be like, "Oh, that's a weapon. I familiarize myself with that part of the world."
No, yeah, and I think the idea more so is that it's like to show the differences between the Viking weapons and his. You know, he's got this skinny, curved sword, and they have these big-ass fucking weapons.
Yeah, that he understands how to use intimately, which I guess, like, as a noble, like, I do expect him, because, like,
sure,
there's no mention of him being combat trained, but I guess as a noble, it's like, yeah, you would be. You'd have access to, like, all kinds of privileges, like combat training.
I saw Game of Thrones. I know how this works.
He starts flipping this fucking thing around like he's a goddamn expert swordsman, man. And they're like, yeah,
dude, he's Zorro.
When you, the one dude's like, when you die, can I give that to my daughter?
Okay, that dude was one of the people I recognized in this movie, because that guy is from Doctor Who, and he played Vincent Van Gogh.
Yeah, the only guy I recognized was fucking Marcus from Underworld Evolution, the redheaded guy.
Yeah.
The fucking vampire lord.
That's what I'm talking about. Same guy.
Oh.
Yeah, ginger guy.
That's another thing. Like, with the exception of Antonio Banderas, I mean, this movie's full of, oh, that guy, but I have no idea.
Oh, yeah. It's a movie that, unless you were, like, super into it and are rewatching it over and over again, like, you can follow it.
Sure.
But, I have no idea who the fuck who is who.
I kind of like that, though, because it kind of makes it more real for me.
No, yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, when I don't know these, especially when I don't know these actors from anything else, like,
right.
They exist as these characters in my head, so it kind of immerses me more. It's kind of why I think, like, Blair Witch works, because you're like, those aren't actors. I have no idea who the fuck those people are.
Well, right. And I guess my point is, like, I think when a movie like this has characters that I don't really know the names of because, they have thick accents and it's not really the point, but I can still watch this and say, I'm kind of upset that guy just died, even though I don't know his name. Like, that's well done.
Sure.
Yeah. I got very attached to these people with minimal time, because I was like, look at these jovial, like, murderous fucks. I love them.
Which kind of speaks volumes.
This next scene, man, like, we have one ginger, but wait, no, we actually have a second ginger.
We have the tall ginger.
Working for this fucking shitheel prince.
He's the fucking mountain, dude. This guy's gigantic.
This kid is huge. He's tall, but like when he has his shirt off later, like in a few minutes later, like he's digging for the mud. You're like, oh, you're a string bean.
Herger basically challenges this guy to a fucking duel, and he goes to Beowulf. Oh, you can't get involved with this. And I guess the idea is if he takes this fucking guy out, the prince doesn't have a fucking leg to stand on to go against them.
Exactly.
The woman who was tending to Antonio Banderas' wounds comes up to him a little bit later and says, like, offers him water, and she's like, the king's son is basically saying that you guys are here to steal, like, the king's kingdom from him. Like, you're here to usurp the throne. And he's putting that in his ear. He's putting distrust in his ear. So just to let you know.
He's like Grima Wormtongue.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
So they're like, all right, we gotta shatter this dude's confidence and morality real fucking fast. So they just basically come up with a plan to embarrass him and take out one of his most, I would say,
his bodyguard.
For sure.
Yeah, his bodyguard. This fucking redwood of a man.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Hey, it's a great fucking scene.
It really is, though.
I love this whole sequence because, like, Herger is like half this guy's size. And so he essentially provokes him by just continuously throwing
dirt on him.
Exponentially more and more mud and wetter mud as it goes. Like,
yeah, from this fucking ditch they're digging.
It's like a little like at first, and he's like, stop it, and then it happens again. It's a little more. He's like, I said stop it, and then like it looks like he gets hit with shit.
Yeah.
He goes, what are you, a dog?
Yeah, he's like, you dig like a dog, and he's like, oh, what are you calling me, a dog? And he's like, no, I didn't say that. And he's like, what are you saying? I'm deaf? And he's like, I didn't say that either.
Yeah.
That's the best part. The fucking guy tries to de-escalate it, and he's just like, nah, we're doing this.
Like 6 times.
And then the whole time that they're about to start this fucking duel, Antonio Banderas is the only one that's like, we need to stop this. This is crazy.
Have some civility.
And Beowulf's like, it's all part of the plan, little Arab man. Shut up.
Yeah. Take a seat.
Enjoy the show. He's like, he's going to die. And he's like, just relax, okay?
So this fight goes very one-sided for a while. Like, Herger has his piles of shields that he keeps going through, and, like, this dude is just... And I like how they set up how strong this guy is.
Yeah.
Just by having all of his Herger shields fucking break.
Shatter.
This dude is pounding on Herger the whole time.
The whole thing of this is, like, there's 3 shields on either guy's side, right? So the whole thing is, like, you break 3, or you go through all 3, and then you don't have a shield, and then it's kind of like, okay, finish him kind of thing, right?
So this dude is just fucking walking through Herger a lot, and then, like, Antonio Banderas is still freaking out. He's like, what the hell? Stop these! So Herger is, like, he's just getting throttled by this dude left and right. His last shield breaks, and he kind of takes a knee.
To get killed.
Yeah, it takes a knee to die, and Redwood looks over at Prince Asshole, and he kind of gives him the nod. Goes to execute him. Herger stands up, sidesteps, and cuts this dude's head off.
Fucking just cuts it right off. He splatters blood on this old woman's face. It's great.
It's so good.
And then he dumps like a barrel of water on his head like a fucking Gatorade celebratory thing.
Didn't he throw money at his corpse too? Like,
Yeah, give him a nice funeral. He fought well.
It's fucking so good.
just throw some fucking pouch of coins.
And Ivan goes over to him and he's like, what the hell? Why the ruse? And he's like, you gotta make it look like it was a hard fight.
Yeah.
Because he's feigning that he's like running out of breath and shit. And then like the second after the fight's over, he's like totally fine, not wheezing at all.
He was like, why the deception? He's like, deception is everything.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, anybody can just measure a man by his size, but like, what you don't know is the scary part. And that just shook that motherfucking prince that he just decapitated this dude.
Yeah.
That guy goes fucking walking off kicking the dirt and you don't hear from him again.
Yeah, that's his ultimate defeat. He just leaves the movie. Yeah, but I like what he says. He's like, he tried measuring us by strength by basically like, one, I think the impression they're also getting is like, don't flex with your fucking bodyguards, you piece of shit.
Right, yeah.
So like they flexed back on him in an even bigger way. So now like if this prince were to have any sort of advantage in this quarrel between the bunch of them again, he'd have to think outside of things he can't, like, he can't measure by what he sees. He has to start using his head, which I think they know he can't do.
Right. That's exactly what it is.
Then we go to, I don't know this guy's fucking name, but one of the guys with one of the 13 warriors is up in a fucking tree.
This is Halfdane.
This is Halfdane. Is he the musician?
He's the guy with the Jerry curls, the Jerry Seinfeld haircut.
Yeah, he was who I was also calling Salt and Pepper Beard.
He's on watch, and Antonio Banderas comes and fucking rides his horse over and throws him like lunch or some bullshit.
Yeah, he's like, why aren't you in the tower? He's like, well, they expect me to be in the tower. That's why I'm in a tree. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
He's about to chomp into this thing, and like he looks up and he sees smoke billowing from the thundering mountains, and he's like, oh fuck, the fire of Worm.
Oh yeah, the fire of Worm's coming.
Dude, then he gets on his Six Flags Great Adventure zip line.
Oh my god, the fucking grandpa man comes out. He's dancing with Van Daam on the side? I think so.
That's Grandpa Van Daam.
Grandpa Van Daam is riding the fucking Vanga Boys bus?
The lesser known of the two Van Daam elders.
He is Granny Van Daam's dirty little secret, okay?
He only resides in Six Flags, though, so you're safe.
Yeah, exactly. She has to go to him.
God, imagine that. She's riding the fucking, like, Superman ride, just straddling this poor bastard. He's dancing while he's getting it on with her.
Oh, my goodness.
Actually, the more amusing outcome is, like, they go to Six Flags and, like, they just do the most pure things. Like, there's no nudity or sex involved. Granny Van Daam's like, let's ride the teacups again.
Naked.
They walk out, and Gunnar Henson's there with the fucking baseball bat, ready to lay down the law.
You have no power here at Six Flags.
You have no power here, Gunnar the Grey. And then he fucking throws his robes off.
Yeah, except his robes are like a Chicago Bears fucking jacket.
Oh my god.
With fucking chili dog stains on it?
Yeah.
Holy fuck, he's got a fucking 4-pack of fucking, he's got like a 6-pack of Budweiser hanging from his fucking belt.
Yeah, like Randy Quaid in fucking Vegas Vacation.
Granny Van Daam has to flee to Islands of Adventure. She's like, he'll never find me here. No one goes to this part of Universal Studios.
In fact, Randy Quaid is there, and he's there with his 2 pistols from fucking Pluto Nash, just pointing him at the back of the.
Excuse me, Granny. I gotta take out Gunnar Hansen now.
Oh my God!
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Randy Quaid, he's a number 63. Gunner's gonna take him out easy. Just pull out the fucking microchip. He's done.
It's true. He's gonna he hits him on the. Okay, no, that's the whole thing.
Oh my God.
He hits him on the fucking face with the baseball bat, and then somewhere else, John Hurt flies away from his crystal ball.
Well, you know what it is, Joe. I think I just cracked it. At the end of Pluto Nash, he says he got a number 65.
Oh.
You know who that number 65 is?
Johnny Five?
It's Gunnar Henson.
Oh, it could be.
You know, he pulls off that Chicago Bears jacket. He's got his staff, and you open up his fucking, front of his shirt, and he's got a spot for a couple of AAA batteries.
Oh, no. Now he's a robot?
He's a robot wizard?
Well, in this particular, form that was teleported from Pluto Nash, I can't really figure out the timeline on this one. It's a little bit hazy.
God, there's a lot of quantum leap bullshit going on here.
Yeah.
Jackson, New Jersey is a strange place.
Can personally attest to that.
Fact. That is factual.
Deliver pizza there. I never want to do that again. So they're basically like, oh fuck, dragon. But you just see a trail of it looks like this very slender row of kind of it's a trail of fire moving down the mountain, quite frankly.
That's exactly what it is.
It is an effective real world way to portray what a dragon or a fire snake might be.
Yeah.
And it totally is. Technically it is a fire snake. It's winding down this mountain, and it's just
This is where, again, I was like, if you suddenly said, no, there's a fucking fire serpent coming down that mountain, it's not people, I'd be like, okay.
Kinda.
Because if I'm looking at that mountain from that village perspective, I'm like, that is scary.
Yeah. But, they know what fire is. They're just, ultra super superstitious.
But I guess because if you see fire, you think it's not going to move in, there's a line from Prometheus that says, nature doesn't move in straight lines, which is kind of when you see something that's natural, when you see something that's not natural. And
right.
The way this row of, it's a snake of fire, to anyone, to these people, you're like, that's not how fire moves.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Sure.
You add the additional layer of this fog that's creeping in, and they're never going to actually stay out and get a good look at these things. And, unlike the 13 warriors do, they just see this fucking, flames essentially, coming down from the mountain. Are like, oh, fuck.
It just means bad news. So then Herger's just like, all right, little brother, it's beginning. And then these motherfuckers go after the village.
I fucking love this entire sequence.
Dude, it's Helm's Deep, man.
The fucking orcs siege Helm's Deep. That's what happens.
Unfortunately, though, for this film, it is a way darker than I would have preferred.
Here's the thing with this. It's not as grandiose as Helm's Deep, because it's
a cool fight scene. I'm not trying to knock it too much.
No. I'm just hear me out real quick. There's a ton of these savages, right? A shit ton. When we say this fire serpent's coming down, there's got to be what? They got to be rolling fucking 200 deep at least.
Yeah, and we know this because so they see these things coming down the mountain, and they start setting up the village for defense, and they even close a gate that's got spikes and shit all over it. But Antonio Banderas, who has eyes like a fucking eagle, sees another child running up through the woods. And basically his call is I have to get that kid out of there, or those fucking monsters down there are gonna tear her up. Hops on his fucking his ridiculous horse, and from the callback from the early beginning of the movie, jumps over this gate of spikes and goes down and catches this kid. But as he does this, he gets close enough to see it. This is just hundreds of dudes on horseback with torches.
So close together that it looks like a solid being.
Yeah, when he's close to them, there's just smoke filling the area because there's so many of these goddamn things.
Yeah. So it's a little kind of stupid because they're surrounding this. They could take this fucking town. Easy. No problem. There's that many people. So that's kind of the only problem I really had with this scene. But other than that, this fucking scene rules. They go around.
They're like scoping it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're also hurling torches over the fences at these people, like, which is just the meanest thing.
Yeah, they're getting fucking Robin Hooded because they shoot fire arrows into like the building and it catches on fire.
Yeah, and one of the Vikings who had like tattoos in his face, like, he attempts to grab a burning arrow or a torch off the roof of one of these buildings and gets hit with like 9 or 10 more arrows while he's up there.
Dude, he gets stuck to the side of this building because like 10 arrows just impale him.
He's not laying on a roof where he's like, it's not naturally flat. He's like scaling down the side of this roof and goes tunk 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 tunk, like,
They're cooking them like barbecue, and you just kind of hear from the cannibals. You just hear one of them yell out, "Meat's back on the table, boys!" And then they just fucking charge.
Can we eat their legs? They don't need their legs.
They're not for eating, but maybe they are. So Eben fucking, or Antonio Banderas rather, one of these things comes up to him and he like ends up just fucking hacking one of these things and like killing one. And he falls down on the ground and he sees that it's a man. And he's like, they're men. They're men. They're men.
Dude, this is his Michael Jordan special fucking water.
Yeah, he's got fucking Mike's special juice, special stuff.
After he sees this is not a monster, he just is like fucking going on a killing spree.
Dude, he goes ape shit.
I love this. He's like, these are just regular ass dudes. Fuck this noise. And just starts slicing these dudes to pieces.
He starts hacking motherfucks. He's like cutting people's fucking heads off and fucking stabbing people and just screaming like a fucking madman, scimitaring motherfuckers.
I love that as a way to motivate someone, because like in the heat of battle, when like you're convinced that you're fighting somebody that may be otherworldly, and suddenly you're like, oh, the playing field is completely even one-on-one? Fuck this, I'm angry. And he just starts killing these assholes.
The intimidation factor's so high, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These people think that they're demons.
And then when you suck that out of the environment, you're like, oh, now I'm really going to come after you hard.
Fuck you. I know I can hurt you in every single way possible.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so satisfying.
That they're freaking you out, throwing fire at you, wearing this fucking bear pieces as
costume, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing, and now that you add that detail from the book, that these are essentially Neanderthals, like, now a lot of their behavior makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Because they would be a very fearful people once you start poking at the way they live their lives as far as how they fight war and how they deal with an enemy. Like,
sure.
Once you crack that very kind of, like, old kind of psychology, like, these things are going to crumble.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
Which is why, like, I don't think their numbers matter too much, because if you can break them that easily, then you just have to get to... But the problem is getting from A to B is a lot harder because of their numbers.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And I don't want to trivialize this scene, because, again, I think it's pretty good. But essentially, it boils down to they do a ton of damage to the Vikings, and then, like Joe was saying a little bit earlier, they just kind of fuck off for whatever reason. And you're down to about what, like maybe 5 of the 13 are still alive,
something like that. The guy they call the Fat Man or whatever, the fat, he fucking punches one of these horses and like takes it down, like breaks its neck, and then gets like pummeled with arrows and then finally dies.
Well, he gets hit with an arrow. He's like, motherfucker, and then he I think he goes after someone else, and like they have to put him down with like a shit ton of it. He gets hit with spears and arrows.
Dude, it has to be like 10 arrows, and then the motherfucker goes down. And then they make like a pike wall. Beowulf and the remaining Vikings take these fucking pikes. He's like, what are we doing with this? He's like, put your foot behind it and we're gonna fucking hold them off. The fucking horseback comes in and they're just stabbing these motherfuckers with the pikes.
Yeah. Well, I think what happened is they funneled these dudes.
Yeah.
And when you start knocking them off their horses like that, they're just gonna start falling over each other.
Yeah, because they're all it's like a fucking a train that's not able to stop,
Exactly, yeah.
And then they see the fucking main Wendell guy who's got like horns or whatever, and then they fucking split, then they retreat. Here's the thing. The way I understand it is this main Wendell guy, you know how like the guy they say that there's a Wendell with like horns, right?
Right, there's like the mother and then there's the actual leader.
Right. That guy doesn't exist in the book.
Oh.
Like he's there to just be another fucking testosterone face-off, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so as they're cleaning their wounds, Antonio Banderas finally kind of takes that Viking woman and presumably sleeps with her, but you don't actually see anything. No. It's just kind of an implied thing.
I kind of like that it's very casual.
Yes, it's not like in your face.
And it is very like, I know you're not going to be, you could die tomorrow, you might leave tomorrow, so what, whatever.
And usually I will ding a movie for like having a female character that is just purely there for the male, but I feel like it was so subtle in this movie that it didn't really bother me.
Also, there's one touch, literally a touch that comes up later on that I thought was like a nice button, like a nice bookend in that little development.
There's also a great line where Herger goes to Ahmed and he's like, yeah, so did you get it on? And he's like, listen, I'm a gentleman, I don't talk about that.
Yeah, he does. I also love this part, like right before he lays with that chick. He's like, Herger comes up and he's like, "Oh, you want a drink?" And he's like, I cannot taste the fermentation of grape or wheat." And he's like, "Yeah," and he starts laughing at him. He's like, "Here you go, asshole. It's made from honey." And he's like, "Okay,
you moron. We've been offering you this whole time."
And he's like, "Okay."
Yeah, because there's a scene earlier where it's that the woman offers him the pitcher, and he's like, "Is it wine or water? Or is it mead or water?" She's like, "It's water," and then he takes it. It's like he's had this aversion to mead the whole time because he thinks it's wine, but it's not wine he's accustomed to. It's honey wine,
right? Which is strange because it's like, is he like allergic to it, or I don't know?
I think it's a religious thing. I'm not sure.
Oh, it might be. Yeah, you're right.
Then they go to this fucking mad seer, as I like to refer to her as.
Oh, fucking Aughra.
First of all, they're like, because okay, so the queen in this village is like, I know someone who can help, so that she takes her to like another kind of oracle or a seer or something like that. They walk into this woman's tent, and she is laying on her side with her hands beneath her cheeks, with bug eyes, ochre-looking hair, and a massive grin on her face. The moment you lay eyes on her, you're like, oh, she's out of her fucking mind.
Dude, she looked high as hell.
Yeah, she's like, you've come to know about the Great Conjunction?
Yeah.
I was getting fucking stoned just looking at this woman.
Oh, and she never leaves the position of laying on her side.
No.
Her head is planted firmly against. She's like, hello, yes, seek the earth, bye.
This is my nap time, and I'll be damned if you're going to interrupt it.
Yeah.
I feel like she's one of those like characters that acts crazy just so that no one bothers her, but really she's just like fucking farting around, relaxing all day.
Yeah, she's like, all right, you figured me out. What do you want?
She basically explains how you need to go and kill the mother of the mother of Wendell.
The Wendell, plural.
I don't know why they think this is going to defeat these fucking people, but they go with the idea.
It's to completely deplete their morale.
I think that goes back to what I was just talking about, because without the detail of them being Neanderthals or primitive people, when you add that detail back, and you're like, oh, it's because their belief system is very, it's outdated.
Right.
And the way they think about this would of course be outdated. So of course you can shatter them just by, killing a leader.
Mm-hmm.
But within the context of the film, without that detail in there, it just looks like she pulls this out of her ass.
Right, but you're also defacing their religious beliefs too. Like that's a big plot point for history in general.
Yeah.
Right, the feminine statue and everything.
Well, yes, not only that, but like an opposing force basically destroying important things right in front of your face, i.e. religious artifacts or anything holy, to really break your morale and break down the enemy and, make them weak and faithless.
And it would be even more fucked up based on the way this movie kind of wraps up. If these people weren't cannibals, I'd be a little bit more upset about it.
Well, yeah. It's their fault too. They fucking, the whole reason they're going after him is because they've been invading the village eating people.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
It's not like they're trying to wipe them out for their land or something,
Well, yeah, this is not America.
No, it's not.
So they track them, kind of using the charred remains of this fire worm, and they lead up to their den, let's call it.
Man, and then this movie becomes a descent for like 20 minutes. It's fucking rad.
I fucking love these scenes. Connor and I were discussing this before, and just like, I don't know, there's something about BC fucking people going around in caves hunting, quote unquote, like monsters. I don't know. There's just something about it. It's fucking great. Real quick, before they go into this cave, I love the exchange between them all because they're like, oh, well, they retreated, they bleed, and they must sleep if they're men, right?
Yes, and that's how they figure out. That's where because this woman says seek the earth.
Yeah.
When she tells them to go how to find these things.
And they're like, what the fuck does that mean?
Well, and then Banderas comes up with this like epiphany. He's like, they dress like bears. Maybe they think they're bears or are presenting themselves like bears. Like, where do bears sleep? And that's how they kind of come to that conclusion.
Yeah, and they're like in a cave, aka in the earth.
And then Beowulf's like, all right, the plan's get her. Let's go. Straight up. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go in there and we're gonna kill him. Here we go.
And they kind of come across this, they find this cave, and they kind of approach from the top.
It's really neat. It's like behind a waterfall, and there's like a bridge that goes through to this fucking cave.
I was watching this, my first thought was like, cut the fucking bridge down.
Well, then you can't get to the cave.
Well, then they can't get out of the cave.
Well, yes, they can, as we find out.
Well, I don't think they know that.
There's got to be another way out of there.
They would have figured it out eventually, but I'm with you, Connor. I thought the same thing initially.
Yeah, cut the fucking bridge down.
Well, they sneak in because they figure out the cave is kind of below the alcove that they're watching over. And they sneak in and they just start ganking people in these fucking tents.
There's backstabbiness all over the place, arrows in eyes.
They shoot this guy in the face with a fucking arrow. It's really cool.
I love that dude. Okay, that shot is great because this dude gets shot and it's not shoot, fall, cut away. This guy gets hit, his head goes back, and he just slowly falls down like a tree.
You see the fucking thing pop out of the back of his head.
Yeah, and he's
and then, Eben, he puts on, like, this monk fucking bear uniform on, and he's, like, walking around, like, with his hands folded, and he kind of walks up to the cave, and these cavemen are just kind of, like, freaking out that he won't respond to him, and then the fucking Vikings just charge out and just decimate them in seconds.
Shanks this motherfucker in the neck.
Even in small numbers, like, when it's this close, like, the Beowulf and his men have, like, the distinct physical advantage.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, like, this whole cave sequence might be my favorite part of the whole movie, just because it's essentially a fucking stealth mission.
Yeah.
It is, this, like, okay, and he did this with Predator, too, but, like, McTiernan seemingly just effortlessly knows how to blend bits of horror into an action film, but, like, it's really neither of the two of those?
No.
Because, like, Predator kind of acts like a horror film.
It's just really tense.
It's suspenseful, I guess is the word, right?
Yeah, but like it's like this is freaky because they have to keep quiet the whole time, and these things are just these things are fucking spooky up close. Because even outside their bear costumes, like these are cave-dwelling cannibal people who we could never hope to reason with.
Oh no, and they're all they're gonna do is they're gonna go batshit and fucking swarm your ass, and then you're done.
Yeah,
because now you're on their turf, so they have the advantage. So we enter the city, the center of the fucking Misty Mountains into fucking Goblin Town,
and then Pippin knocks a corpse into a well. Fool of a took.
I mean, honestly, the way Banderas was fucking flopping around in this place, I wouldn't be shocked if he's the one that did it.
I love that they take their armor off to crawl around and be quiet.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool little tidbit.
They have several really tense moments. Like, this is already a tense situation, but, ratchet it up. Because first you have this fucking, like, stone get knocked over, and they just freeze.
Yeah.
And they're crawling in a small, like, trench in this cave just out of the line of sight. And, like, all it really takes is someone just looking in the right direction at the right moment, they'd be seen. But if they're, if they're absolutely quiet, they won't get caught. But yeah, at some point, someone knocks over like this bundle of stones, and the whole room just gets hushed.
Well, they keep moving, and they get to this fucking waterfall, and below the waterfall, they can see all these people kind of in the distance in these little alcoves like that are built into the rock face. And they're like, okay, we're going to swing around the waterfall and then kind of climb down so that it's harder to see us.
Yeah.
Just going down one guy at a time. And, of course, all the Vikings do it flawlessly. But Banderas is like shit in his fucking britches.
Because he hates heights.
I am not a fan of heights.
Fucking Daniel Stern's there. He's like, come on, man, just belay yourself off.
Actually, it was that kid that climbed
Kilimanjaro.
Now Kilimanjaro wasn't Daniel Stern. He was also shit in his britches.
That's what they were missing. They just needed Daniel Stern to walk between that waterfall so he could lay down across it. And they just walk across it.
Just like so the Vikings can step on Daniel Stern.
Yes.
Dude, he would have just collapsed into the water with the weight on top of him.
Beowulf would have stepped on him and snapped his spinal column in half because that dude is huge.
And Daniel Stern is a literal string bean.
The Jewish man is dead.
Yeah. Like, I'm just imagining, like, that dude stepping down, like, Daniel Stern giving that scream he does in Home Alone 2 when he gets electrocuted.
And then his legs just fly up into the frame.
I think right before this or right after this, they come to the giant stone idol that all the other ones have, like, little mini versions of, like the gift shop version of, and then you get the big version of the Venus idol, and it's just covered in fucking human bones all over the place.
I thought they were about to throw another fucking curveball at us. I thought some big fucking creature was going to come out, and then, like, I thought about it for half a second. I was like, oh, wait, this is an entire civilization of cannibals. Like, of course there'd be bones all over the place.
No, I thought the same thing, too, because I was like, oh, maybe they worship this fucking thing? Like, the mother isn't actually a human?
Yeah, like, are we going to get legit Grendel's mother?
Right.
And we don't. We get a cool sequence, but we don't get that.
No.
But yeah, they all get down the waterfall, and at one point, Banderas fucking slips and gets, like, rope burn and kind of yells out, and they all freeze again. And thankfully, some warriors are kind of coming down the walkway where they just came down from, and no one hears it. And as they're making their way, because their whole plan is that, go down the waterfall, get in the water, and just kind of swim over there and just kind of, like, stealthily take out everyone down there. Mm-hmm. And then some kind of ritual is starting while they're making their way over there.
Dude, they fucking climb out of the water into this praying circle, and they all line up around all these dudes, and they just fuck these dudes up.
They destroy these people.
One guy gets impaled on a fucking stalactite or stalagmite, whichever the one is sticking up out of the ground. And then while they're fighting these guys, they're like, "Oh, Beowulf, go get the mother or the female or whatever." So he runs into this cave and finds her, and she's hanging out with one other dude, and fucking he gets cut in half.
Also, hanging in this room are these fucking branches with the heads of his fucking dead allies.
The fucking vines with all these fucking decapitated heads.
That was fucking terrifying, okay? Because, like, they're just sloppily, like, just placed on these hanging roots from the ceiling.
Yeah, why are they there, though?
It's ritualistically, I don't know.
It's an intimidation tactic, too.
I guess. Or it's just, like, decorum for her room?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Because she's just like some kind of priestess when you get down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
But he goes in there, and you can kind of see her holding this fucking bowl, and immediately I'm like, that's poison. And then I see a snake hanging off her arm, and I'm like, yup.
And she dips a fucking bear claw in it.
And I was like, yep, he's getting that.
Oh, yeah. When I brought up the main guy who's part of this clan, right? The guy with the horns, the fucking horns of power or whatever, he's not originally in the book. And then this woman is supposed to be like this decrepit, old, gross, like fucking Van Damme-esque monster thing. Not a monster, but like, she's supposed to be real creepy and old. And Michael Crichton, when he came back in to do the reshoots, now this scene was already shot, and in the book, she's old. Michael Crichton came in and was like, "Oh yeah, it won't look good if like the heroes come in and just fucking 86 this old woman." So what I'm gonna do is make her young and like have them have like a fight, like a face-off fight or whatever,
and just be a little creepy, I suppose.
I guess, but like, I need to see the alternate cut of this fucking movie because I'm just very curious about what that original vision looked like,
Also, I was totally under the impression that guy he killed in one fucking, like, sword swing was the fucking, like, guy with the horns.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I thought he would be by her side the whole time.
Right? It's not.
Yeah, where was he otherwise? Like, fucking watching Days of Our Lives? Like, where was he? Like,
I don't know, kicking it in the fucking Horns of Power chamber? I don't know.
He was polishing his horns?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they go toe-to-toe, and like Connor was just saying, he gets fucking swiped in the arm by this bear claw, and then like right after that he just cuts her fucking head off, and it's over.
Oh man, he turns around and just swings that fucking broadsword, and off it goes.
A lot of decapitation in this movie.
He looks around the room, he sees the heads hanging on the roots, he's like, I guess I might as well add it to the bunch, fucking lobs it on there.
Yeah. So they have to go deeper into the cave, because if they go back the other way, they're gonna get met with like an army of dudes
who are all very upset.
Yeah, so they're going deeper and deeper and deeper, and he's like, oh well, it must lead to a way out, and they hit a fucking dead end, right?
Meanwhile, Beowulf is he's in bad fucking shape.
Oh yeah, he's feeling the effects of that poison already. And there's a stream running through the cave, and they're like, oh, follow the stream and we'll get out. So they hit the dead end, and they're like, fuck. Well, if we take turns in twos and fighting these guys, we can, two of us can rest while two of them are fighting them. I'm like, y'all are fucking just gonna die. in a second.
Well, earlier in this too, Healfdene takes like a hammer to the chest. And like he initially brushes it off, but then as they're making their way down this passage, like he stops and he's like, yeah, whatever. He's like, you have to go without me.
He says, today was a good day. Now get on, laddie.
Yeah. And this is where the body language thing I want to bring up again, because every time Herger announces that someone has died, he gets less and less jovial about it. And when Antonio Banderas comes back and tells him, like, yeah, he stayed behind, like, this is the first time where he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, has to stop happening.
It doesn't break him, though.
You know, he left him with a thermal detonator, so he did his fucking job.
He better wind it, man, or else he's just going to throw it down that fucking hallway. Nothing's going to happen.
Pink, pink, pink,
He's going to be screaming like Sagat. But yeah, like, you know, thinking about it, you know, them going 2-person at a time fighting, like, you know, not a bad plan for Vikings, but, like, they throw one torch in that little fucking area they're standing in. They can't breathe after about a minute or two.
No. So Antonio Banderas is like, oh, the fucking waves hitting against it. Oh, it's Thunder Rock or whatever outside the fucking, on the lakes out there, the stream or whatever. And they're like, all right, well, you know, we might be able to swim underneath the rocks and, like, get out. And there might be, like, a way out. Like, this feeds into the stream or the river.
Right, because there's, like, a small little alcove where water's coming in. Like, small. Like, enough that you could barely fit through.
Yeah, and they're basically like, well, let's either risk that, possibly drown, or get eaten by these people, and I'd rather drown.
Yeah, fuck it. And fucking Beowulf's like, we're gonna do it. Here we go. And they fucking all jump in and they make it out. And they fucking pop out in the river.
I would like to know how they got Beowulf through this, to be honest.
No fucking clue.
Well, he has balls of fucking iron, okay? Like,
He does.
Did, like, one of them just, like, push him up, like, from his feet into that final hole that, like, barely one person could fit through?
Yeah, like they just tossed him up there, or like one guy went through and pulled him through.
he's like, my shoulders are too big.
I can't. He's like Winnie the Pooh. I can't fit.
Break both of my arms, then I'll get through.
Cut them off. No big deal.
Yeah, reattach him later like Hisaka.
So they make it out and they get back. They go back to the king's fucking fortress.
And surprised, fucking Beowulf is still alive. I was honestly surprised by this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very sick, and everyone's kind of like, yeah, he'll be dead by morning.
Yeah, he's fully accepted it. He's like, yep, I'm gonna die. And he's like, I'm gonna die a fucking pauper. And then the king's like, nope, you're gonna die a king. Here's a sword. And he's like, thanks.
You're gonna die, here's a sword.
And then like, this is the part of the movie where, like, I feel it start to kind of fall apart or get real reshooty. We're fucking wrapping this up, baby.
This is where the movie gets into its equilibrium ending.
Yeah, exactly.
Where they're like, all right, wrap this shit up right fucking now.
We're way over budget, so just get it done.
Get as many shots of Antonio Banderas looking off into the distance that we can use in between shots as possible.
Where's that Banderas B-roll? Put it in there.
Before this very quick ending sequence happens, like, Bill basically says, like, he asks Antonio Banderas' character, he's like, hey, write about me. And he's like, done.
Well, and then Banderas, he actually prays to Allah.
Yeah.
He gets on his knees, he takes his fucking boots off, and he's praying, you know, get us out of this alive. Like, please, protect us.
But I think he says, like, if you can't, then let the next few minutes at least be enjoyable.
Yeah, I love that because, like, that kind of brings that whole thing full circle of his accounts, like, in those diaries. Or manuscript, rather, about his adventure. You know, he's like fucking Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah.
He writes about his adventure with the fucking dwarfs. So Beowulf's story lives on, you know, because there is no author to Beowulf, right? But now there is. Get it?
What's happening here is that they can hear the rallying cries of, like, these savages they just kind of tried to decimate. But now, like, they're pissed.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, they'll be back tonight. And then you just fucking hear the war horn and everybody starts fucking piling in.
Did I say tonight? I meant right now.
But yeah, you know, they're about to go into this fucking final confrontation, not sure if they're gonna live or die, and Beowulf fucking in this, like, poison stupor just stumbles out with his dog.
It's pretty badass.
I fucking love this. And I love the fact that the dog survived the whole movie.
Yeah.
And then he's pale and sickly looking, like he can barely hold his sword. And he starts to say a prayer too. And it's Arlen actually commented the entire thing on my Instagram page.
It's like a Viking prayer, right?
Yeah.
It's really cool.
But the important part about it is that, like, he starts saying it, and then Herger joins in, and the other guys join in, and then Antonio and Banderas joins in to finish it with them. So, like, this is, like,
Yeah.
in the moment, like, their cultures have fully merged, and, like, they're brothers in the battlefield. It's awesome.
And this is great. And then it's just kind of like...
And then a fight happens really fast.
Really quick. There's like a couple splashes of blood and shit like that. And then like... the main guy with the horns, right? Like they kill a bunch of people, like they kill a bunch of warriors or whatever, and then this dude comes off his Beowulf knocks this guy off his horse, and he's got some type of bone armor on or some shit, and he like hits him with a fucking broadsword and like knocks his ass down like twice.
Yeah.
And the second time he hits him, he falls down, and then he just walks over to him and stabs him through the chest, and then he's dead.
And it's over. And the enemies are like, we see you have boom boom sticks, and they leave.
Literally over. Like he's like, no sooner does that fucking sword go through him, everybody's turning around, turning tail, and fucking getting out of dodge.
Well, and then Beowulf uses the rest of his fucking strength, because he didn't use it killing this guy, to climb up on this makeshift fucking king's throne, and he dies smiling.
Yeah, he just sits there and dies. And they're like, oh, Beowulf's dead.
Yeah, right before his head died, he said...
It's probably really accurate, actually.
Death is but a door, time is but a window, I'll be back.
And that's where he came back from.
Sure did. He was in a fucking painting.
Yeah, he closed his eyes, opened them again, and Peter McNichol was standing in front of him.
Okay, are you suggesting that Eben painted the Vigo portrait?
Holy fucking shit.
There it goes. Now full circle.
Oh, what do you mean suggested? That's actually what we're saying.
And like the whole Vigo the Carpathian thing was like an over-exaggerated story of like his life.
Of this?
Oh my god. The MDU is a crazy place, but an accurate place.
Oh man, I like it.
So, yeah, like Connor said, the dog lives. And actually, in fact, the dog fucking straight up bites the shit out of one of these warriors' faces.
Rips his throat out.
Oh, the dog is explicitly shown ripping someone apart. It's fantastic. Also,
Like, that is a war dog.
this dog is interesting because I think it's an Irish wolfhound.
Yeah, it totally is. Bonzo dog.
It is stark red. Like, it stands out every time you see it. It's awesome. It's also, its coat is grown out and filthy looking. It's awesome. He looks like a dog who's just seen a million fights.
Yeah.
And any movie where a dog lives throughout the entire film where it's constantly put in peril earns a lot of points with me.
Sure. And then this is the real awkward portion, because, like, we watched somebody get a full Viking funeral before, and you'd think we've traveled the entire film with this guy. You're going to see him get his funeral. They, like, carry him on a piece of wood, and then it just fades out. And then we're on the boat with fucking Antonio Banderas going home.
They don't even change his clothes. They
No.
keep him in the same bloody, muddy rag he was in before, and like he's not ornately posed. His arms are just kind of ragged on off the side.
No fucking sword, no crossed arms holding the fucking sword or whatever.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, he's gonna get a burial by.
They gotta go ship his body to Japan, where they'll reanimate him, and he will face off against the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in about 300 years.
It looks like they're gonna throw him over a cliff, and then it like fades out.
They pass by Calibos and just nod.
What are you doing out here? I'm gonna throw my daughter in the ocean. Oh, funny story.
Oh, cool.
Look out for lightning.
We got we got another package for you. Here you go.
It's our fucking king. Just throw him over the side.
Fucking Calibos is the garbage man for people.
Oh my god.
I toss him in the ocean. You bring him, I toss him.
So then the music kicks up. Gandalf walks in. Bilbo joins Antonio Banderas on the boat off into the sunset to visit the fucking elves.
We just go right to this boat, and Antonio Banderas is on it. Like, we can't even have him say goodbye to Herger in any real way.
Yeah, give him like a hug or
No.
a fist bump.
Nope.
Nothing. High five.
Dude, it's almost like the director is off screen going like, wrap it up. Like,
Antonio Banderas is like 30 feet offshore,
and the boat is moving.
and they're screaming to each other, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna pray to. I know you only have one God, Antonio Banderas, but we have a lot of gods, and I'm gonna pray to all of them to make sure you get safe passage.
And Antonio Banderas is like, what?
He's like, goodbye, Arab. And Antonio Banderas is like, see you later, Northman.
Yeah, but he like mutters it. He doesn't even like yell it out to the guy.
No.
And then he writes his fucking story at the end in Arabic.
Yep.
There and back again. An Ahmed Ibn Falad story.
Northmen again.
And I think he he writes it on the boat, I think is the implication there.
He shows him back somewhere in like a house or a hut or some shit, and he's writing it, and he's like,
I think he's like in the bottom deck of this fucking boat, because as he's writing it, it fucking pans out to this fucking toy-looking boat on the water with the music playing as the fucking elves come out and lead the way.
Yeah, it's very ornate, and he's just like, and that was the story of Beowulf, and now it's over. I will go down in the annals of history. I'm starting to sound like Christopher Van Lambert again. He's coming through.
Yeah, you and accents are a dodgy relationship.
Oh, man.
Well, you're just a lowly podcast host. You're not being paid millions of dollars to sound like an Arabic man and not achieving it.
In fact, we're not getting paid anything, so go figure.
There you go.
So I guess I'll do the Christopher Van Lambert accent, because fuck you. So I get there and back again. Goodbye. And then they fucking cut to credits.
Yeah, basically.
That's 13th Warrior.
And that's the 13th Warrior. Are we buying a ticket for this? Are we torrenting it? Or are we going to wait for VOD?
Ticket, day one. Love the shit out of this movie. I love Norse mythology. Their history, I'm a little dodgy with. But this is blending a bunch of stuff I like about history, which is like stuff you don't get to talk about in school a lot. This is old world stuff, and it's spooky. It's weird. It's playing off old cultural fears, and then it's this cultural medium that I really love. It's super suspenseful. I like the action sequences, and it's lots of aesthetics that I love. I think the acting is all pretty fantastic, and this felt nice and brisk, and I didn't feel bored at all during it, and I don't really have any complaints about it. The ending sucks, but doesn't ruin the experience. Yeah, ticket, absolutely. And I don't have a lot to say about it, because I just sat there like kind of beaming with joy the whole time.
Totally.
Just had such a good fucking time with this movie that I was like, okay, even all of its little flaws like don't bother me at all. So yeah, definitely a ticket thing.
Yeah, I'm buying a ticket too. I really had a good time with this. Like I had said at the beginning of the episode, like I saw a bunch of trailers and I just never caught the ride. Like I never watched it. I don't know why I never did. I wanted to and I just never did. And now I finally did for the show, and I'm really happy that we did it, because this is a movie that really shit the bed in more ways than one on the production side, and between going over budget and being reshot like crazy and just fucking not being released for 3 fucking years and being rescored and all this bullshit. All of that being said, we came out on the other end with a fine movie. Like, I dig this movie. Like, I'll totally watch this again in the near future. It's really well acted. I love all the set pieces. Again, Connor had already mentioned like the Norse mythology and just the Norsemen in general. I like that whole kind of culture and spending time with those people and what they do and how they do things. And again, the cultural mashups here between, the kind of upper class Arabic poet getting kind of thrust into this fucking knock around guys kind of, mercenary-esque type group of really down and dirty fucking dudes was a delight to watch, and kind of him and him grow with, and the camaraderie between the both of them against a common enemy was also really cool, even though they were kind of like subhumans, I guess. But yeah, straight up, buy a ticket for this. It was great. I had a really good time.
I like this movie, but I'm not as high on it as you guys are, so I'd probably get this on VOD. Watch it at home. Listen, I watched 3 to 4 seasons of the fucking History Channel show Vikings, like, back to back. Like, I binged that shit to get caught up on that show several years ago, so I'm all in on the fantasized Viking history type shit. I like Thor, which I guess is maybe not a fair comparison, but hey, I'm going to throw it out there. So I like Vikings, or the concept of them. I don't know if I'd like them if I met them, because they'd either murder me, rob me, or, a bunch of horrible things they'd probably do to me. But, I like them as a genre, I guess, let's say. But
they're interesting.
It's not, exactly. And, this isn't a film I'd probably go see in theaters. But, if it was on TV, or it was on demand and I was looking for something of this nature, I definitely would check it out. Good movie, but not my favorite.
We also were talking about the Tammy and the T-Rex cut, the gore cut in the beginning of this episode too, which is going to be great. I can't wait to go check it out. They're doing it October 11th or October 12th. I can't remember which, at the Philomoka in Philadelphia. So if you listen to this episode, go buy tickets to that, and I'll see you there, because we're definitely going, because that's going to be fucking great.
I'll just say, I watched a scissor reel that Joe shared on Facebook, and the amount of violence that was removed from this movie is shocking. That's all I can say.
It cleans up plot holes. Let's be honest.
Oh, straight up.
It is an alarming amount of gore was removed from that movie.
It's a definitive way to see it, man.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Can't wait. So excited. But on that note, there is a cut of this film that I believe is either an hour or a half hour longer without any of the reshoots. It's like the original John McTiernan cut with the original score and everything. Like I need to see that, and apparently that hasn't been released to the public at all. So what I'm thinking is like, okay, well, if we can fucking get the Tammy and the T-Rex gore cut completely restored, why the fuck can't I see this film the way that it was originally intended to be?
If, as Hunter, one of my Phantom Zone cohorts, has implied that we are now willing things into existence, then I'm perfectly okay with us having that come back around and suddenly a 13th Warrior extended cut is available.
I'm with it.
Hey, you know what? I'll watch that version on VOD too.
That's totally fine, but
I'm into it. Yeah, why not?
I'm very curious. I'm very curious to see what that's like, But yeah, Jesus Christ. Now, there's a couple conflicting factors here that I want to kind of discuss and see what you guys think. But initially, or on the books, quote unquote, the budget for this was $160 million. Its opening weekend was $10 million.
Oh. Well, it made more than Pluto Nash already.
This is true. Its gross was $32 million. And its cumulative worldwide gross was $61 million.
Oh,
this movie lost $100 million.
That's a shame.
Dude, it's a big hit. Like, I don't think it deserves that, I guess is what I'm saying.
No.
I think it's a fine film. Like, I don't get it. I don't get that.
I'm not going to look it up now, but I do wonder, like, what else was out at the time that this was released that, caused it not to catch on.
I don't know.
So this movie and Pluto Nash both lost, like, the same amount of money, I think.
Right. Now, here's the other part of this. Now, the original budget, or the original purported budget was, I believe, $85 million, and then the rest was marketing?
Oh my God.
What the fuck?
I think, or maybe that was Pluto Nash. I can't remember.
If that's the case, though, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like the original budget was only 85, but then when it went into reshoots...
Oh, yeah, you know what? That makes sense.
With Michael Crichton, everything, it just fucking ballooned, like, way out of proportion. So it went way past what it was supposed to. But even then, it wouldn't even fucking broke even at that point still. Which is kind of baffling to me.
That is upsetting.
I don't get it though. I don't know why it wasn't really well received. I think it like, again, like, I think it's a fucking fine movie. There's nothing wrong with it. It was a good time. Like, I would buy a ticket to this and enjoy myself. Like, I think it was fine.
Even movies that are much more, I guess, like, girthier is a word I would use, like Kingdom of Heaven or Troy, or something along those lines that, like, looks that lavish and is kind of set up on, like, being a historical epic and, like, with lots of battle sequences, like, they didn't bomb. As far as I know, I don't think Kingdom of Heaven bombed, but I think people were a little bit disappointed with the theatrical cut, and then you got a director's cut that was like, oh, this is how the movie's supposed to be.
Right, exactly. And those films were fucking way longer than this.
But, like, that movie isn't known as, like, some notorious box office bomb.
No.
And, like, I don't see why this is such a commercial dud. I don't understand it.
No, and earning its place amongst, like, the worst performing movies ever, and I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
And it's like, I don't get it. That's like, it's kind of almost on the same wavelength as, like, Howard the Duck, as, like, that being one of the worst films ever made, but it's totally not.
I even said it's a movie I didn't personally like, but, like, I'm sorry, one of the worst ever made?
Yeah,
nah,
exactly.
Like, no.
And, like, there was no reason for this movie to lose as much money as it did. And that's just like a numbers thing, which is just kind of weird. But it's not a bad film, like, at all.
But with that, though, like, the amount of money lost, I'm sure is also, well, it obviously is, like, tied to, like, hey, maybe don't just, like, bring in a separate director and hire him to just film a whole other fucking movie.
Yeah, fucking stick with it. Well, apparently it tested really, like, it was deemed unwatchable by the test audiences.
Whatever.
That cut was deemed unwatchable, then re-edited 17 fucking times, and then reshot, all of the sequences. But yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I'm definitely gonna grab the Eaters of the Dead book and fucking check that out.
Yeah, I kind of read it, and like me picking a book I want to read at this point in my life is hard, but this definitely has my interest. So
absolutely. So that's it. That's the 13th Warrior from 1999, directed by John McTiernan.
Hey everybody, if you want some more bad movie goodness, you can check us out at moviedumpsterpodcast.com.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, Android, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, or Podbean, and make sure to leave us a 5-star review if you dig the show, because it helps us get out of the bottom of the dumpster into more eardrums.
Yeah, and if you're on the social medias, you can follow us at Movie Dumpster on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm Joel Escola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
I'm Connor McGraw.
Thanks for visiting the dumpster.
Lo, there do I see my father. Lo, there do I see my mother and my sisters and my brothers. Lo, there do I see the line of
my people, back to the beginning.
Lo, they do call to me. They bid me take my place among them.
In the halls of Valhalla,
where the brave
they live.